And don't forget, Friday, we are on at 5:30 Eastern with a complete wrap-up of all the day's action in Darlington, Phoenix, and Gainesville, plus Trans Am results from Sebring. Once again, that's at 5:30 Eastern, so you might want to set your VCRs before heading to work in the morning. See you Friday, 5:30 Eastern. Don't forget. Good night, everybody.
RPM Tonight is a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network. Go.com.
But the Toronto Maple Leafs are one of the NHL's most storied teams, but this great club hasn't won a Stanley Cup since 1967. The Detroit Red Wings are also a fabled franchise. However, unlike Toronto, they've found recent success bringing home 2 cups in the 90s. The Leafs have recently made great strides, and last season made a strong playoff run but lost in the conference finals. This season, Detroit continues to be one of the elite in the league, while Toronto leads the Northeast by 5 points. The last time these 2 original 6 squads met, Detroit dominated. These 2 old rivals meet for one last time this regular season. Unlike so many of the games you've seen recently on ESPN and ESPN2, where one team is fighting for a playoff spot tonight, 2 teams assured of a playoff spot, we just don't know which one. Toronto comes in 5 points behind New Jersey for the top spot in the East, whereas the Detroit Red Wings come in right now sitting in the 4th spot, but they're only 4 points out of the #1 spot overall in the NHL. Hi, everybody, and welcome to National Hockey Night here on ESPN2. Steve Levy alongside Barry Melrose. The Wings come in riding an 8-game unbeaten streak, their best so far this season. Steve Eisman says defensively they are playing their best hockey.
And they're being led defensively by, I think, the most underrated defenseman in the NHL, Nicholas Lidstrom. This guy is playing great defense, but he's also having a great offensive year, and no one's even mentioning for the Norris Trophy. Sergei Fedorov is playing his best hockey of the year, both ends of the rink. He's starting to score again, and he continues to be one of the best checking forwards in the NHL. So those 2 guys are really leading this club right now.
Detroit playing well, so too is Toronto. The Maple Leafs have won 9 of their last 11 games coming in. But if their first thought isn't on the game tonight, you'll understand. We'll explain next.
It's the one day of the year where the sound of the mat is a little sweeter. Fans cheer a little louder. Superstars jump a little higher, move a little faster, and hit a little harder. WrestleMania is the place where heroes are born and legends are made. Snickers presents WrestleMania 2000 live April 2nd on pay-per-view. Order and you may receive a free exclusive videotape, The Best of WrestleMania 1 through 15. For details, visit WWF.com.
There are poets, there are artists, and then there's Patti Smith. Music Choice presents a truly innovative performer who continues to redefine rock and roll. Music Choice on stage with Patti Smith, sponsored by Arista Records and Vidnet.com, only from Music Choice.
A new contest begins. Watch some of the best sluggers in the league play a little game called Long Ball. The Big League Challenge. Monday at 5:30 on ESPN2.
Breakaway showtime. He scores! Log on and get into the game. NHL.com puts you in center ice with cool features, the latest stats, and hottest video clips. Listen to live radio broadcasts of virtually every NHL game free. It doesn't get any better than this, baby. Get cool gear from the NHL store, inside information with NHL Press Pass, or jump to your favorite team's website 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world. Skate the web and score with NHL.com.
Toronto visits Detroit tonight, of course, without the services of promising defenseman Brian Berard. By now you've seen it, the March 11th incident that sends Marian Hossa swinging and missing the puck, connecting instead with Brian Berard's eye. Earlier, Barry Melrose had a chance to visit with Leafs GM and head coach Pat Quinn.
Well, Pat, the first question everyone's asking is the up-to-date condition of Brian Berard right now.
Well, Brian went home to Woonsocket to get a little bit of rest. In the meantime, the physician that examined him in Toronto is consulting with several specialists around North America. And right now the plan is they need to have a look inside, and there's all kinds of blood in the eye, so they're going to go in and operate and clear the blood off so they can have a good look at the damage, and then they'll make some decisions from there.
So as of right now, his future, does anyone really know?
No, I don't think so. I think there's some hope. They believe Brian feels like he has some light sensation in that area, so that's given everybody a sense of hope, and the best people in the world are going to be looking at it, so hopefully maybe some good things happen.
When we were talking this morning, you were telling us that this kid's a pretty special guy in your dressing room.
Well, he sure is. He's one of those kind of rebels, but without being offensive in any way. He's, I've said to him, and I'll say to anybody, that I think his best asset with his competitive spirit, his instinct. And, you know, he'll need it now. I mean, he's got a tough fight in front of him, but he was liked by all, by coaching staff, by players, and, you know, it had a real effect on everybody.
Well, I think everybody I talked to this morning said that that was on the minds of the players last night when you were beat by Chicago. Now what did you say to them today, having come back to Detroit the next night?
Yeah, really, I've avoided the topic in a direct sense. I mean, every player is going to have to deal with his own particular emotion on that, like pros have to do. We have distractions in our life, and this is a big one for everybody, and our guys are going to have to deal with it. It may take some time, and some will get it better than others. But I'm sure it was on their mind last night. I know it was, and you know, we didn't play well, but it wasn't as if we couldn't have pulled it together. I think we're going to be fine, and perhaps, you know, with some good news and people can rally around things that are sometimes disastrous things.
Well, thanks very much for coming down and talking to us with a very bad subject, unfortunately.
My pleasure. Thank you, Barry.
Barry, Pat, thank you. Cujo took last night off in the Leafs loss. He's back in the net next against the Red Wings.
Morning, Joe.
Morning.
Here's your bank statement.
Excellent. Seeing the latest mortgage rates, not too shabby.
So, how we looking?
It's all about you, Joe.
Imagine your entire financial world at your fingertips. Introducing OnMoney.com, where you can see and manage all your accounts all in one place.
Whoa! Hey, that reminds me, Joe. Your gas bill's been paid.
Get your money connected at OnMoney.com.
Howard, here's your eyeball.
This is Howard Johnson, toy designer. Howard has a big presentation tomorrow, so he stays at the hotel that has his name written all over it. He has some work to do, and we have the room to do it in, where the coffee's always fresh and the bed's always comfortable. And he earns Howard Johnson Super Miles rewards every time, all at a Howard Johnson kind of price. We have a great name to live up to. Howard Johnson makes you feel at home.
Life has its bumps, but you don't have to feel them. Now Midas Gold struts with R2 technology are only $59.95 each with a lifetime guarantee. Go smoothly. Go Midas.
Underway from Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. 7 whole seconds for our first whistle. Referee is Kerry Frazier. Working the lines tonight, the veterans Dan McCourt and Ray Scapanella. The Maple Leafs in the road blue uniforms, and the Red Wings in their home whites. Face-off coming up to the right. Curtis Joseph, currently ranked 4th in the NHL in victories. Fedorov to take this draw against captain of the Leafs, Max Sundin. Toronto wins. Counterway swings it around. Hits it to the far side by Larry Murphy. And it's rolled around the board. Wings able to hold in momentarily. Puck is slammed on, and now it is fired out of the zone by Yusevich. for Toronto.
One of the things Pat Quinn told me this morning, Steve, is yes, they're winning. Yes, they're playing pretty good, but they're not playing good defensive playoff hockey yet. So that's what Pat wants to work on the last 10, 12 games this regular season.
Sundin could not handle. Steve Thomas can. He's got Jonas Holmgren coming on. And we here. Holmgren is tied up nicely by Lipson. Here's a chance. Skavich ripped one off the glove of Osgood and into the crowd. What a bomb that was by Dmitry Skavich.
Well, right there you saw what makes that line special. They got great vision. They go to the net hard. They got good size. Skavich sneaks down. Thomas makes a great play. One of the best passers in the NHL this season. Great backhand pass out to Skavich. Great wrist shot. Osgood tried to cross and got his glove on. Look at that. Saucer pass, backhand right on the tape. Skavich trying to beat him up top shelf. Doesn't get it. Osgood moved well. Comes across with the glove, puts it up in the stand. So good puck movement by the Maple Leafs early in the game.
Skavich had an assist last night in the 5-2 home loss to lowly Chicago. We keep calling them lowly Chicago.
Not this time of year. They're not lowly now.
The hottest team in the league. It's amazing what's going on.
Bob Pulver's just got to get Chicago to play the rest of the season like they played the last month of it.
Right, well, they're not mathematically eliminated. Not in it. Karpatsev is hit by Malkin. And Chelios played the body. Puck is just now out of the zone. And here's Dmitry Kristich on it. Puck back out at center. Leafs very happy to have Dmitry Kristich in the lineup. His first game since being injured on February 16th. After a month, he's back in the Leafs lineup tonight.
Not only because of his goals, Dmitry Kristich is a very good two-way player. He can play against all the other team's top lines, which is important, and he can score goals when there is a breakdown. So he's a pretty valuable part of this Maple Leaf team.
Key getting him back there, especially tonight because Toronto is without Yannick Perreault, one of their top offensive players. He is back home in Toronto. His wife is expecting. Didn't give birth at any time, so Yannick Perreault is not with the team tonight. Leafs have it set. Gary Vaughn will chip it in on goal. Osgood will steer it aside for Matthew Dandino. Dandino playing defense with Todd Gill. The difference a season makes in terms of the trading deadline. Todd Gill, the only pickup for Detroit. I suppose the last year was Chelios, Samuelson, and Clark, and Ranford. They made the big splash in the NHL last year. Not the case this year, just reacquiring Todd Gill.
And that was the big word, reacquiring. They know Todd Gill. They know what Todd Gill's strengths are. They know what his weaknesses are. That's one of the reasons you go out and get a guy like Todd Gill at the deadline.
It's not funny, but he fits in nicely with this team. Team abdominal injury. It's amazing. Gill had one of those injuries. Poster and Gilchrist,
McCarty,
and all those. It's amazing what has gone on with the Detroit club, and Gilchrist for that reason also fits right in. Here's Stacey Roos, a healthy scratch the last 2 games. He's back in the Detroit lineup tonight. Chris McAllister burying a man in front of the Toronto net. Kerry Fraser will let it go. Ty Domi on the ice now in Toronto, and it's picked off. Here's Sergei Berezin. Try to find Domi. Ty couldn't handle a pass, and it's back out at center for Kevin Adams.
Leafs really want Berezin to pick it up. Here's a guy that's a 40-goal scorer last year. They got to get him scoring at that rate again.
Domi waited a bit too long to make the pass there, and they're offside at the Detroit blue line.
Well, there's the guy I talked to before the game, Pat Quinn, one of the few GM coaches in the NHL today. That's a position that sort of doesn't happen anymore. He's a great hockey guy. He's run a lot of franchises, Los Angeles, Vancouver, took Vancouver to the Stanley Cup a few years ago. Stability. When you see this guy behind the bench, you know who's boss, you know who's running things, you know he's a smart hockey man. You can't argue with a guy like that. He gives you instant respect, instant stability on that bench. All those young guys know that Mr. Quinn, the giant behind the bench, is running things.
What a toll that is, right, to be that guy like Pat Quinn, because in other cases, GM and a coach, different guys. Hey, maybe the GM likes him, the coach doesn't, or vice versa. You're only dealing with one personality.
It's a real tough situation, GM and coach, because GM wants certain guys to play the young guys, draft picks, guys that they picked in the draft, the younger guys coming up. Coaches want to win now. They'll play an older guy ahead of a young guy because they know that older guy won't make as many mistakes. So it's a dream for a hockey person to have both jobs. Scotty Bowman has had both jobs in the past with different organizations. Again, I think the greatest coach he's ever coached in the NHL. He takes a team and they win. Before he came here, Detroit had the same type of team. They never won. Scotty comes here, bang, they win that year. So you can't tell me coaching doesn't matter in that situation.
Scotty Bowman, of course, the winningest head coach in NHL history. Kevin Adams, a little back pass into his own zone. And Yuskevich will go back for it. Up the far side. Good to see Chris King back with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Long shot, first one on Curtis Joseph. Easily steered aside, and it's backhand at center.
Pat Quinn promised Chris King that after the list and the expansion, the rosters were expanded, that Chris King would come back from the Chicago Wolves. And Pat stuck to his word and brought him back, and now he's part of the Leafs again.
Adams is upended. Pomerley gets it ahead. Far side Domi, 2-on-1. Domi rips one, and a stick save by Osgood. And Roos will clip it out to center.
One of my favorites, Ty Domi, one of the exciting guys in the NHL. Fans favorite wherever he's played. Players love him, fans love him. And he scored a few goals this year, some big goals.
Big shot. Fedorov ripped it off the glass. What a bomb.
People haven't seen Detroit play of late. Sergei Fedorov is a much different player of late.
There's Duchesne breaking in. That shot is stopped by Joseph, who had to protect the shot, the original shot, and LaPointe to his left of the crease.
The key to that save, Steve, was he put the rebound in the corner. He didn't leave it in front of the net. He knew LaPointe was there to pick up the rebound. Thus, he had to make the save and control the puck on the rebound.
Puck touched with a hand pass. This has a great pace to it. We're not surprised. We expected this kind of up-tempo game from two of the top 4 scoring teams in the National Hockey League.
If we get a 1-0 game out of these two teams, the goalies are going to have to be good. Watch this play. Duchesne jumps in as he's going to. Now, see up save. He knew that puck had to go in the corner because Marty LaPointe went to the net like he does all the time. A poor goalie drops that puck right in front of him. Yeah, he makes a save, but Marty LaPointe puts in the rebound. That's what makes Curtis Joseph special. Doesn't leave much on the table, so to speak, Steve. Look at those numbers. And this isn't a great defensive team Toronto has. It's really, he's never played on a great defensive team. That's what makes this guy so special. He's able to beat you in a round himself. We saw that with Edmonton a few years ago. Just a great, great competitor, great goaltender. Here's a guy who's won a Stanley Cup. He's been a maligned goalie of late. A lot of people thought Detroit might make a move at the deadline to get a goaltender, but the guys love this guy in the team. What a battler, what a competitor. Great numbers, goals against, save percentage over 9. So he's their goalie, and they think they're going to win the Stanley Cup again with this guy.
15:34 left here in the first. Bit of a stoppage due to a glass issue in the Toronto end. ESPN2's coverage national. And then you see how Ozzy has done against the Maple Leafs. You know, typical Chris Osgood. Detroit wins the other night 3-2 over Nashville. People don't talk about the victory for Osgood. They talk about the 2 goals he allowed. Both were bad goals. Osgood some poor judgment in handling and going out for the puck.
Well, everyone, when they saw the last year Detroit won the Stanley Cup, I think the common thread was that I don't think anyone saw a team win the Stanley Cup that it had weirder goaltending. We saw goals from center on numerous occasions. It wasn't like you saw him stop 40 shots a night, not with any soft goals. They won with some soft goals against Detroit, but they just love that guy the way he competes. Sergei Fedorov, as I said, since he's come back from the IR, I think he's been great. He's one of the best skaters to ever play the game. I think at one time in the NHL, 93, 94, 94, 95, he was the best player in the world. Look at him jumping the player. Great one-timer. He's got every weapon, this guy. He's got speed, he's got vision. He can play defense when he needs to. He can play him against anybody. Offensively, defensively, great dish to Duchesne there. Almost resulted in a goal by LaPointe. So if you get Sergei Fedorov playing at a high level, boy, this team's got a lot of weapons. Yzerman's had a great season. Shanahan's had a great season. Verbeek was a great pickup. 4 goals in the last 6 games.
And Fedorov has done very nicely for his career against Toronto. Better than a point a game. 50 points in 49 lifetime games against the Maple Leafs.
And again, what makes Sergei so special is you can play him against the other team's top centerman. He's that good defensively. So you can even open up a guy like Yzerman because of the way Sergei can play. So,
you know, it's a good thing we're not in Atlanta or Nashville, Barry, because if they were fixing the glass and taking this long, you would say, hey, it's because we're in Atlanta or Nashville. Here in Hockey Town, they're struggling to fix the glass. There you see Pat Verbeek comes in 2 goals shy of 500. He'd like to get it tonight on ESPN2, and he'd like to get it. His parents are at the game tonight. They traveled some 70 miles to be here.
What a perfect fit this guy has been on that line. Both Yzerman and Shanahan love to shoot, especially Shanahan. He gets a puck that's going at the net. Pat Verbeek knows his bread and butter, his goals are going to be rebounds, tip in. So you got a guy like Patty Verbeek always in the goaltender's face. Number 1, that's a screen. But number 2, it gives the goaltender something to think about. He knows if he doesn't handle Shanahan's shot or Yzerman's shot clean and doesn't give up a rebound, Verbeek's going to get the rebound and put it in. So he's got a lot in his mind. Patty was just a perfect fit with Yzerman and Shanahan. Great pickup.
Signed a 2-year deal. Took a little bit less money to come to a team like Detroit. The team's got a chance of winning the Cup.
The reason he left Dallas is he wanted a 2-year deal. Dallas was going to offer him a 1-year deal. Detroit offered him a 2-year deal. Another reason it's such a good fit, it kept Patty Verbeek away from Dallas. So it did two things.
Right.
Brought him here, helped Detroit out, also kept him away from the Dallas Stars where he played so well.
That line will take a breather. The glass has been repaired and ready to play some hockey.
And they're playing Fedorov against Matt Sundin. So that's what we talked about. Fedorov can play against anybody.
Off the draw. Won by Detroit. Chelios without a play will flip it in the air and down the length of the ice. Alexander Carpenter tried to get it cleared. Couldn't get it away from Brent Gilchrist. Chelios will force it in deeper. Gilchrist back to the point. Duchesne shoots it far side. Back behind the net. The point checked by Corey Cross. Fedorov centering feed. Gilchrist was tied up nicely by Carpenter. And Fedorov, good hunt on the puck. Turnaround shot. Fedorov wide of the net. Duchesne hammered by Thomas as he releases. Centering feed. Here's Fedorov. Backhand shot. Stopped by Joseph. Rebound is stopped by Joseph as well. And the Leafs get to it and then clear. Race for the puck down to the corner. Hogan. Chelios had him lined up. Didn't hit him as hard as he could have. Something is loose on the ice. Chelios is without a stick now. And now LaPointe will forward hands Chelios to the bench with his stick.
Great move by Chelios to pull up the stick instead of dropping it in the corner. He threw it through the crease or through the slot area so it could hit something and it could cause a loose puck before he could get it. So that's a smart move that a veteran would make. He could get called for that as well. He did it real quick. As soon as he saw the slow bang, sent it through the slot area.
That's center. Here's Shanahan. Tipsy-doodling it across the line. Shanahan on the backhand. Up high and it's gloved by Joseph. And he'll hang on.
And again, Fedorov's line was supposed to be checking Sundin's line there, and they spent the whole time in the Toronto end zone. And that, again, that's what Fedorov does. He's able to score. So Sundin, a lot of nights, checking line faces Sundin. Sundin doesn't have to be worried about being scored against. All of a sudden, you put Fedorov out there against him. Sundin's also got to play some defense.
Shanahan had 2 goals the other night in their 3-2 overtime win over Nashville. Shanahan had the game-winning goal.
Here's the play right here. Chelios, again, Chelios is in the corner covering Hoagland, as you mentioned. Here's a stick break. Now watch him. Right now, he sees that it's broken. Where does that stick go? Right through the slot. He doesn't drop in the corner. Great move by a veteran defense.
Kristich, nice pass. And like that, the Leafs are out of the zone. 2-on-2 as they hit the Detroit line. Korolev tried to give it to McAllister coming late. He was back-checked nicely by Kirk Maltby. And Lidstrom will pick it up. Terrific pass to get out of the zone. Can't pay off. The center is Kristich there for Toronto. Here's Darcy Tuck. Big save by Oscar. Korolev behind the net. Lidstrom showing off some of the strength. Rubs him out in the corner. Here's Tucker now. Tremendous pickup. Darcy Tucker gives you the grit. Lately's been giving you points as well as a member of the Leafs. 19 goals this year. Here's Tucker now. Shot of the net. Tries to wrap it back deep. As the Leafs cycle down low in the Detroit zone. There's Tucker picking it up. Away from Larry Murphy. Can't get it through to Kristich. Shanahan got enough of it to clear. And here's Verbeek and Carberlet. Couple of 15 minutes going head-to-head. And the Leafs get it inside their zone.
Good shift by the Maple Leafs. They cycled the puck and they never got a scoring chance. So that's what the Detroit guys are saying on the bench. Great defense, guys. We had it on our end for 30 seconds. Never got a shot at net. So Toronto's saying the other thing on the other bench. Guys, great shift. We continue to do this all night. We'll win this game.
Here's a chance off a pile-up, and Tropoff centering feed stopped by Osgood. Tremendous check by Gambino to tie up the loose lead.
Tropoff's about 6'4". What a player he's going to be. He's got everything actually. He can shoot. He's got great vision. He's got reach. He's got size. He's played a little bit of grip to him. Great pickup by Toronto.
And they just turned 20. Here's a chance. Beresin, you know, he's going to shoot it. Didn't get the kind of wood he wanted on it. Osgood able to handle the soft shot and hang on. Well, the pace is picked up right where we left off. No problem with the glass repair. Let's go.
Call it a bonanza, an extravaganza. It's how you save on tires. Now,
one of the keys to Toronto was Sergei Beres, and here the guy scored a lot of goals for them in the past. He's only got 19 this year. He was always Sundin's winger. Jonas Hoagland's got that spot right now. But they want that guy to regain his scoring touch for the playoff run.
kept in by Domi as Domi and Draper exchange glancing blows. Now all five Red Wings come in when they see Ty Domi was involved.
Ty Domi's playing with Chris King. Again, those guys played together a lot the last few years. As you mentioned, Chris King was sent down to Chicago, the IHL, for a while. He's back now. He's getting some ice time tonight. They're playing with Kevin Adams, a big centerman, so that line can do some damage. Ty, as I said, goes to net hard, runs into everything, moves. Chris King's the same way. Adams got good size and good speed. So this will be a good energy line for Toronto. And there's the B on the back, of course. That stands for Brian Berard. Their thoughts are with him. They're all worried about that kid. They all love him. We all know it's a terrible situation. That's sort of a sign that Brian's with those guys every night on the road and at home.
You know what? I wouldn't mind if that sticker was on every team's NHL helmet. It's a fraternity. Everybody in the league is thinking about Brian Berard and talking about it. That wouldn't be such a terrible thing if every team adopted that. We've seen that in some other sports. If it's on one team, doesn't mean that's just on their uniform. Gill pinching in against Domi. Puck is cleared. Adams is hit hard by Draper, and Adams goes down on the ice. Kevin Adams, the native of Washington, D.C. Chris King applying the body in the corner. Now Adams, the big bag, just simply ran into the wrong guy, Martin LaPointe, and Adams went down.
Marty weighs about 230. I think that was the problem right there.
That'll be 5'8", 230. It's some dimension there. Gill, the hard check. That shot, Joseph got a piece of it, just enough to keep it out.
It's interesting. They play Gill with Danino and they keep the big four defense together for Detroit. So.
LaPointe, by the way, is 5'11", 215 to be specific.
Tomorrow, 215.
Tomorrow night on ESPN's National Hockey Night, we'll bring you the team the Red Wings are chasing, really for the #1 spot in the overall NHL. The St. Louis Blues continue their trip out west. They'll take on the Los Angeles Kings. McInnes and Pronger will try to slow the high-powered Kings offense led by Luke and Ziggy. This game can only be seen on ESPN anywhere in the U.S. beginning at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. And there you see the deal. Los Angeles right there. You gotta watch their rearview mirror.
Phoenix is only 2 points out of 8 spot, man. Holy.
2 points at 8 spot, and they're only 2 points behind the Kings.
Crazy. If you've been in a hot streak or a losing streak, you're in trouble in this league.
And again, the rarity, the oddity in this game tonight is both of these teams are assured playoff spots. Detroit is actually officially clinched. You see that Detroit and St. Louis are the only teams that officially have clinched playoff spots so far. You know the Leafs will be there. Here's Detroit trying to break 2-on-1. Here's Yzerman. He's got some help. Hits the brakes. Yzerman with a lane. Now all sorts of time. And deflected away. What a tip there by Gerald Diddick. Just got his stick on it and tipped it out of play.
Well, Steve, right in that play, you saw what makes this guy special. You saw his vision, looking for the guy coming to slot. You saw his toughness. He was going to go to the net with a puck. You saw his smarts. He holds up. And you saw his willingness to shoot. So what a player this guy is. Played with him his rookie year. Watch this. Loses a puck. Defenseman thinks he's going to the net because Stevie will go to the net. One fake, two fakes. Sees the guy going to the far post. Tries to put it at the net. He doesn't score in a shot. The rebound will come to the Detroit player going hard to the net.
How about this celebrity face-off? Matt Sundin against Steve Yzerman. A couple of bucks tied up there, huh?
They broke the Yzerman line up. Shanahan isn't playing with these guys right now for Beacon and Yzerman. And they got Draper on the left side, or Kozlov on the left side. So Detroit broke the big line up for a little while.
Here is Slava Kozlov. Gets it across. Yzerman will shoot it. Shanahan is up on the bench looking like he's ready to go.
And Scotty does it. Scotty doesn't go with 4 sets of units. He'll mix everything up, play everybody with everybody.
Crowd is reacting to heavy hits. Kozlov is tough. Joseph stops that one. No wing around him. And Kerry Frazier wants him to play the puck, and he finally does. Here's Sundin. Frazier is letting him play early. 9-1, like to see it.
He knows he's got 2 offensive teams here. He wants to keep the flow going through. He doesn't want a lot of it.
Here's Yzerman. Look at a break. Hits the brakes again. Centering feed to the crease as the net is knocked off. And there's a foul. Maltby and Sundin behind the net. As the players separate now. Matt Sundin back checking hard. Steve Yzerman goes over to say something to Maltby, and there's Brendan Shanahan to stick up for his teammate. The players finally separate. Matt Sundin working hard in all 3 zones. We're scoreless.
Steve, we've just had an interesting situation happen here with the Leafs. You saw the penalty. Sundin's coming back with Maltby. Eisman throws the puck to the net. Maltby goes to net hard. Now watch Maltby stick right there. It comes up and clips Sundin in the back of the head. Sundin goes after him after the play, throws a couple punches at Maltby. And what we've got right now is Matt Sundin is in the penalty box for 4 minutes. Big discussion by the Leafs. They didn't like the call. Doesn't matter. Sundin's in for 4 minutes.
2 for holding. That's the original takedown on the way down the ice. And another 2 for roughing, I guess, for the extracurricular activities and behind the net.
That was an unbelievable example of what Maltby does to. He gets everybody so angry.
Not a popular
he
player in
goes
the
to
league.
net and he high sticks Sundin, and then Sundin gets the extra man. Look at Eisman again, going to the net. This is the end of a long shift. Good teams go to the net. We've seen Detroit go to the net 3 times already. Here a penalty's called if a goal isn't scored. Good things happen to teams that go to the net, that have enough guts to go to the net night after night after night.
Power play for Detroit. Eisman will play 1 point with Nicholas Lidstrom. Shanahan is on. Fedorov is on. And Holmstrom is in front of the net providing the traffic. Cross for Shanahan. Maybe the quickest release in hockey. That one was blocked by Carpenter, who's trying to shake it off.
What they want is Shanahan for the one-time. We've seen so many times. Look at from one side of the ice to Shanahan for the one-time. That's what they're trying to set up.
Quickest release in hockey?
One of the quickest. Brett Hall, his buddy, has one of the quickest.
Well, Shanahan wants that puck bad. Back to Lidstrom. Cross, Shanahan. Rocket shot wide of the net.
Because Cujo has to go side to side, too, to make the save. That's why they want that.
Shanahan's in a backdoor position. Red Wings on each side of the crease. Power play ongoing. Again, double minors. This is 4 minutes power play time. We'll see how long this first unit stays out on the ice. Here's Shanahan. Number 3 in the NHL in power play goals. Brendan Shanahan. Cross for Eisman. Shanahan through the crease. Here's Eisman for Shanahan. Rips it wide. On the far side. Fedorov goes across for Eisman. Has Lidstrom now. That shot. Stop. Puck is loose. Scramble. And it's cleared by Toronto. Barry, who's more tired? The Toronto penalty killers or the Detroit power play guys?
Penalty killers are more tired because they're doing physical work all the time. Power play guys, except for the guy in front, are just moving in and out. All the penalty killing guys are stopping and starting real fast. That's the hardest thing in hockey to do.
Murphy towards the front of the net. That one is stopped by Joseph, and Larionov couldn't bury the rebound. Here's LaPointe now. The second unit is on. Murphy, pretty setup. Couldn't get the shot. Beacon a high slot now. Larionov had it. LaPointe on the back door. Here release. Gets it back. Here's LaPointe. Trying to find LaPointe back door. Larionov couldn't get it across, and it's cleaning it. Exciting power play that hasn't resulted in much. So far, only a minute 45 left. LaPointe, the blast. Rolls up for Murphy. That's off a skate. Korolev, he'll get to it. And he'll shoot it down the length of the ice.
What makes Detroit power play special is you can throw Murphy and Duchesne out on the second unit. Chris Chelios has not even seen the power play yet, so you see how deep this Detroit team is.
A pretty big boost to Toronto. They can kill off the double liner without their best player on the ice, Matt Sundin. Here's Lidstrom now. Cross. They get Shanahan back on pretty quick, don't they? Here's Eisman for Lidstrom. Eisman has. Lidstrom creates some space. Big shots through traffic. Stop. And just cleared. Squeezes across the line.
Watch the front of the net. 96 Holmstrom's job is just to go to the front of the net and stay there and tie up the defenseman on him and tie up Cujo. Make Cujo look around him to make the save.
Boy, if Detroit does not score, I don't know how you call this a bad power play. They've been excellent for them to be show for.
Good execution. By the penalty killing, good execution by the power play.
See Cujo jump into the boards there to make the play. Lidstrom now. Cujo checked himself. The puck nearly rolled out in front of the net. Here's Fedorov trying to squeeze it through. Trying to get it through too many players and couldn't. Here's Lidstrom. Goes across for Eisenman now. Coming up on 20 seconds left in the 4-minute Detroit power play. A power play that has so much talent on it. 10 seconds left for double minor for Sundin now. Here's Shanahan trying to center, went off Gary Walk's way. 3, 2, 1. Sundin's out of the box. Shanahan. Sundin now joins the play and
the only fresh guy on the ice right now. There's 9 tired guys out there.
And trying to create something with his speed. Couldn't get across the blue line. They're offside. Detroit gets only 2 shots on the 2 power plays. And Cujo stopped them both. We're scoreless in the Motor City.
I decide and get Shanny to shoot a look at this. Lidstrom across. There's the one-timer. Look at Cujo having to go side to side. Now you're going to see Shanahan wanting the puck. He's letting everyone know he wants it. Puck comes to him. There's that one-timer. Great movement. Now you're going to see Cujo going side to side. He's got to move with the puck. That's how you get holes in goaltenders. They don't like to move those legs. They don't like to spread those legs out. That's when a puck squeezes through the legs and a goal is scored.
Mentioned Shanahan is tied for 3rd in power play goals in the NHL. Owen Nolan's got 18. One of the Bourrés is 2nd, Barry. Power play goals in the NHL. Which one do you think it is?
Valerie.
It is. It's Valerie Bourré.
I know everything about hockey. You're not going to trick me.
I would have guessed Pavel. Valerie's got 13 power play goals, 2nd in the NHL. Osgood will glove that and swing her around. Shanahan is tied with Robitaille, Lang, and Heasy for 3rd.
But there's only one guy of that number is going to be a total free agent at the end of this year. That's a big number.
As the puck is sent.
That's Brendan Shanahan.
Shanny earning himself a pretty good-sized contract, having a terrific year. Saturday afternoon, it's the return of the NHL on ABC. At 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, most of you will see another installment of the nastiest rivalry in the NHL. Detroit and Colorado. The Rangers will take on the Flyers, and the Penguins will be in Boston. It's the NHL on ABC, Saturday, the home of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Off the face-off, Chelios shoots it in off the glass. And it's cleared all the way down.
Plus 41 for Chris Chelios. Unbelievable numbers. Faces all the top line. Pronger's plus 42. Probably win the Norris Trophy. Chelios plus 41.
Chelios' offensive numbers will probably rank among his career worst in a full season. I guess that's okay if you win a Stanley Cup.
Goals are different here in Detroit. Yeah. The minutes he plays are different. How he plays is different.
Gloved by Joseph, and he'll hang on. Chelios' average ice, Barry, is down about a minute and a half per game from last season when he was among the NHL leaders.
I think once you get to Chelios' age, even a warrior like Chelios, like Raymond Bourque, those guys are used to playing 35 minutes a night. At that age, you just can't do it. Chelios is a warrior. He's in the pits. He's banging and crashing. He doesn't play an easy 25 minutes a night. His minutes are hard and nasty and ugly and brutal minutes. Another defenseman like a Nicholas Lidstrom, he doesn't clutch and grab and battle in front of the net like Chelios. His minutes are different than Chris Chelios. So I think it's smart for Scotty to lower Chelios' minutes. You'll get more out of him, and he'll have more to give you once playoff time comes.
You know, I mentioned the lack of offense from Chelios. He's gone 32 games without a goal.
But again, he has not seen power play time.
32 games. We're not talking about 10 or 12 for Chris Chelios.
Well, I'll tell you, I would trade numbers for Chelios and get that plus 41 anytime. Yep. I'd rather him be plus 41 than have 20 goals. That means he's doing the job back there on defense. And again, he's playing against every team's best line. He's not seeing the dogs on the 3rd and 4th line. He's seeing the elite NHL forwards night in and night out. So it's a tribute to Chris Chelios at his age that he can still play at that caliber.
Shutting down the Leafs that they haven't had a single shot in the last 7 minutes and 45 seconds. These are 2 great rivals, 2 of the original 6. We've got another glass delay in just about the same area. This is the 630th all-time meeting between these 2 great franchises, and Detroit has the slightest edge. Check it out, 630 games. Detroit has won 1 more game than Toronto, yet they've been outscored over all the years by 26 goals. And they have something else in common, Barry. You know what else that is?
Nice uniforms.
You played for both these 2 franchises.
And you know what? I played when they were both bad. This is a smart thing to do right here.
I think they're going to end the period with 4:31 left on the clock, so they will tack on 4:31 to the 2nd period. And so we're just about set then in that case to take you to the Dodge Intermission Report. The playoff fight continues. Barry will have more on the Eastern Conference race. And the Lakers go for 20 in a row. So that's it. A mini first period will be a longer second. We're scoreless after 1, sort of. ESPN Newscast.
Report. Now let's join ESPN News.
In the Maple Leafs, they're
is no score. We are at the first intermission. And
we're at the first intermission, sort of, here in Detroit. We'll explain it a bit. We're scoreless, Toronto and Detroit. Of course, the Red Wings are chasing the St. Louis Blues for #1 overall in the National Hockey League standings. And the Blues will be in L.A. tomorrow. You'll see it exclusively tomorrow night over on ESPN, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. Back to Detroit after this. ESPN2's coverage of National Hockey Night is brought to you by Minwax Wood Finishes. With Minwax, it's easy to make wood beautiful. By Mazda. Mazda, get in, be moved. And by OnMoney.com. Get your money connected. OnMoney.com. Normally at this point we'll say 20 minutes complete, but not exactly. Had a couple of stoppages for glass repair, plexiglass repair, so 4:31 is still remaining in the first period. They have resurfaced the ice, and then at the end of the 4:31 we will change ends and put a fresh 20 up on the board. And that is why, when we come back to play after our first intermission, the face-off will start deep in the Toronto zone.
And 4:31 is a lot of time to have that done. Usually if it's under like 2 minutes or a minute and a half, they'll do that. But 4:31 is a long time to stop a period. Obviously it was a major destruction in that corner that they needed to fix, and that's why the 4:31 was done.
Detroit wins the draw. We're 5-on-5 as we play out the final few minutes of the first period. The ice will be interesting towards the end of what is officially the second period because of the extra time on the clock here. Check the ice condition. Normally very good here in Detroit. Among the best in the league. Lifton shot. Well off the mark. Holgren didn't want to win that race with a puck, allowed Murphy to keep it in. Here's Detroit. They're set up well here. Shot! Stopped by Joseph through heavy traffic. 3 bodies in front of him as the Leafs break back. 2-on-1. Here's Metson Jr. Tried to make the move around Murphy. And that shot went wide of the net off the deflection. It's been a great game. We've had tremendous action. Good pace. Outside of a couple of lengthy delays for repairing the glass.
Pat Quinn mentioned about playoff hockey. They're not there yet. You saw an example that Hoagland didn't get that puck out on the wall. Almost cost him the goal again. So Pat Quinn will talk to Hoagland about that when he gets to the bench.
There's Martin LaPointe on it now. Draper comes over along the boards. Congratulations to Chris Draper and his wife today, this morning. Gave birth to their first child. And congratulations to them. They crossed the line, just went off Fedorov's stick, and it's back out at center ice. Kennedy Shea Draper. Spelling Kennedy, K-E-N-N-E-D-I. I love it. Great name. Kennedy Shea, by the way. Shea is the name.
They're spelling that S-H-E-A?
Like the stadium.
Shea Stadium.
And they're offside at the Detroit blue line. As usual, a fixture and a star in the first period, especially on that power play. A lengthy power play for the Wings, their captain, Steve Eisman.
Well, this team didn't become a Stanley Cup contender until the captain changed his style. Instead of getting 150, 160 points a year, he became a complete leader, defensively, offensively, paying a price night after night. How can you not play hard as a player and you see your captain doing this every 60 minutes? Goes to net hard. Great vision. He's always had that move. Stop, hit the guy coming late. Stop, go around the sliding man. Some of the quickest feet in the NHL. What a leader this guy's turned out.
On December 19th in Anaheim, Steve Yzerman wore the C on his sweater as captain of the Red Wings for the 1,000th consecutive game. Think about not too many players play 1,000 NHL games. Be the captain for all of them.
And the same team. And now that Ray Bork's been traded, I got to think Yzerman will be the last guy ever to do that on one team that long, especially as a captain.
Flipped into the Wings bench. There you see Steve Watt. Right, so hard to imagine him in a different sweater, but we see Ray Bork.
It happened. Hey, Gretzky was traded 3 times.
Gretzky, Chris Chelios, you didn't think you'd see him out of a Blackhawks uniform, and here he is in Detroit.
But you got to think Yzerman's going to pass Messier, if not this season, the year after. Mess doesn't score quite as much as Stevie anymore. So you got to think Yzerman's going to continue to climb that that ladder. And one of the reasons Detroit wins consists they bring leaders into their dressing room. They bring Chelios in, Verbeek in. They bring good people into this group. Dallas does the exact same thing.
Here's Falk breaking in from the wing, trying to center, and Maltby was on it for Detroit. Here's Falk. Couldn't tee it up. Berezin in front. Couldn't get a shot off. And when Sergei Berezin can't get a shot off, that's saying something. Among the leaders traditionally in shots on goal in the National Hockey League. Once again, he leads the. Here's Berezin. Shot, score! Sergei Berezin made the most of that shot, and it's 1-0 Maple Leafs.
Well, right there you saw Matthew Dandino, the forward that plays defense for the Detroit Red Wings. He took a chance there. He tried to play with his gloves. Short hopped him just like it does to the odd shortstop in baseball. You mentioned Berezin, boy, that's his 20th goal of the year. If he gets hot, great news for the Maple Leafs. Right there, I don't think Dandino was a shortstop as a child. Puck doesn't bounce quite as much as a baseball one, right under his gloves, and Berezin jumped on it. And I think this caught Osgood by surprise, too. Comes right in there. But that's a guy that knows what he's doing coming in on Osgood. But that puck caught Osgood by surprise. He was back in the net. And, of course, Dandino missed it, and he'll be talked to when he gets to the bench. But it's a tough situation playing forward one night, playing defense the next night. That's going to hurt you once in a while.
1-0 Maple Leafs. Somewhat surprised by all the Maple Leafs fans in attendance here.
This is huge. Scoring first against Detroit is huge because they do that to everybody else. That's one of the reasons they win so many games. It's good to make them come from behind, especially in this building.
2-on-2 as they hit the line. Trying to get it through for Adams. It's Berezin his 20th from Diddick. Even strength goal at 18-10 of the first period. Officially, again, that is a first period goal. If you're just joining us, we have 1:10 to play in the first, and we will not be in intermission. We've already had that with a glass repair.
That whole goal that was scored by Toronto, that shift was ugly for Detroit. There was open men in front of the net. Berezin was almost in there before. That was just a real ugly defensive shift for the Detroit Red Wings, and it finally costed them with that play that Dandino missed.
Berezin is a goal scorer. He's had more goals than assists each NHL season. This is his 4th season in the National Hockey League and is now just 2 goals shy of 100 in the NHL for his career.
And he shoots the puck. Sergei's out there. You're exactly right. He's out there to score. Nicholas Lidstrom, puck comes up. Shanny loses it. Right there, Diddick just flips it in the air. That's a nice assist for Charles. Good pass up there. Dandino mishandles a nice play by Berezin. You saw Osgood guess me, he was going the far side, right along the ice underneath. Goal scorer's goal.
The face-off went a bit too well. Corey Cross tried to bring it back across the blue line, and the team in blue is offside.
And again, if this guy gets hot, boy, and he hasn't been hot all year long, that's why he's not playing with Sundin. Hoagland got that job. Berezin was hurt earlier in the year. Hoagland hasn't relinquished that spot in the Sundin line, and Berezin is just starting to score again. So Berezin wants to play with Matty.
He was hurt also, Barry. Berezin returning to the lineup just 10 days ago after missing the previous 14 games with an injury. His first game back, had a goal, an assist, and had 9 shots on goal.
Oh, Sergei shoots. He knows what that sticks for.
1-0 Toronto, final 40 seconds. They look to headman to Yzerman, who was ahead of the play. Hoagland is back on him. Now the puck back behind the net. Curtis shows. Back behind the net now. Final 25 seconds. Spun around for Beak through the crease. Back behind the net. Yzerman's the first man on it. Finds Kozlov now. Verbeek fighting his way through the high slot. Again, we're 15 seconds away officially from the end of the first period. 1-0 Toronto on a Sergei Berezin goal. Thomas trying to break. Gets to Sundin. Will he beat the clock? 4 seconds left. Hoagland, the quick shot. Stopped by Osgood. Good clock awareness by Jonas Hoagland to at least get a shot on from the bad angle. And Chris Osgood able to make the stop. So, officially, we're at the end of period number 1. We'll switch ends. The Leafs have a 1-0 lead. Well, this Saturday, I can't tell you how great it is to say the return of the NHL to ABC. At 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, most of you will see Detroit and Colorado. I'll be in Philadelphia with Darren Pang and Darryl Ray for the Rangers and the Flyers. Barry will be in Boston. He'll join Mike Emmerich and Joe Micheletti for the Penguins and the Bruins. The NHL on ABC, live Saturday, 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific.
And And I think the reason that Toronto has this lead right now is the play of Cujo on that 4-minute power play that Detroit had earlier in the game. Cujo was spectacular. I love this guy. He's never played on great defensive teams. He always has to stop a lot of shots. He never wins the goals a game to the save percentage because of that. He just keeps battling night in and night out. Players love to play in front of him. He doesn't score, doesn't care what the score is. He's giving you his heart and soul all game long. What a battler he is.
He should be well rested, Barry, since again he did not play last night. His last action, well, he needed some rest. He made 40 saves Saturday in a win over Ottawa. Glenn Healy was in goal last night for the 5-2 loss at home against Chicago.
Cujo is always one of the goalies that sees the most rubber in the NHL, year in and year out.
So officially the second period is underway. LaPointe got a couple of shots. Joseph the stop. They try to squeeze it home. McAllister finally dumped Draper there and took an extra whack at Joseph.
I always laugh. In the last couple of years, they talk about all the moves Toronto made and how they changed the system and how they're an offensive team and all this. The bottom line is a much better team now as they went out and got Cujo. They went out and got Curtis Joseph. When he left Edmonton suffered. When he went to Toronto, Toronto became a much better team. This is a guy that gives you a chance to win every night. Brodeur is like that. You know, Patrick Roy is like that. Eddie Belfour is like that. And Cujo gives this team in blue a chance every night. You know that at the end of second period, you're going to be going into third with a chance to win the game.
He's moving up the all-time win list for Toronto. He's 3 wins shy of tying Alan Bestler for number 9 on the all-time list. Got to beat Allen at the All-Star game soon.
Looks like he can still play in that Legends game. He's only 35 years old.
Knocked ahead. And the Leafs have it. Pass back to Tucker. Somehow he's able to keep it onside. Here's Christian with one arm, able to make the pass behind the net. Centered by Korolev, but right to Detroit. Here's Fedorov. Will give and go with Martin LaPointe. And it's deep inside the Toronto zone. He skates, swings it around far side, kicked him momentarily. And now it's looks like it's at the feet of Scotty Bowman as some of the wings go to pick up the puck. To put Scotty Bowman's numbers in perspective, he has over 1,000 wins. Well, there are only 3 other coaches who've ever been coached. Forget winning. Forget winning. They just coached overall 1,000 games. Scotty Bowman, his 28th year. 7th in Detroit. That is the longest current tenure of all NHL head coaches.
Well, the story with Scotty is how much longer does he want to coach? How many more challenges does he have? How much longer does he want to come to the rink every day in battle? That's, you know, he'll coach here as long as he wants. That's just going to be the next question: is how much longer does he want to wear and tear coaching in the NHL?
He's got 2 fine assistants.
Yep.
Dave Lewis and Barry Smith, both worthy of head coaching jobs. Maybe whenever Scotty does hang it up, one will get the job, and the other will probably go someplace else and be a head coach.
I think that's exactly what will happen. The one will become the head coach here, and the other one will go and help another team get going.
Here's Berezin again, another shot. Good shot there. Stopped by the right hand of Osborne. Shanahan ahead, off the stick, gets it back. Here's Shanahan. Oh, what a great play to stay onside. It'll be wasted. Maltby extended his leg to stay onside for that play to be good. And now Maltby goes to the bench.
Good plays are never wasted. That motivates the guys on the bench. And Maltby works that hard to stay onside. That's why this team wins. Little things.
Play by Roos to keep it alive. And then the shot on goal from Gilchrist. Curtis Joseph able to make the stop there. You might not have heard this recently. Brent Gilchrist nearly arrested on the Red Wings trip recently out west. You know he was nearly busted for, Barry? Jaywalking.
Oh, I heard that story too.
He was crossing the street in California, I think out in Santa Monica, and he and one of his teammates, and he was stopped by a policeman, asked for identification, and I guess the police officer gave him a break, cut him a break. Imagine getting busted for jaywalking. You'd take some heat in the room for that, huh?
Yes, you would. You'd be doing hard time for that, man.
In the dressing room.
Hard time in Santa Monica jail. Most beautiful jail in the world, Santa Monica jail. They have silk pillowcases in Santa Monica jail.
Americans had some experience there, Barry. How could you know so much about the
Santa Monica is a beautiful place. You'd be disappointed if the jail wasn't beautiful.
Brought out across the line. Chelios will fire in. Here's LaPointe now. Centering feed. Gilchrist had his stick lifted by big Chris McAllister. That do me big. Oh! And McAllister puts the shoulder into Chelios. Chris McAllister goes 6'8", and it's sent down the length of the ice.
Kelly went right to the bench after that.
Our check thrown there by Ty Domi as the Leafs pick up the hitting game. No Darren McCarty again for Detroit. He remains injured. As that shot is deflected out of play and into the crowd. So that'll be one of the strengths, I would think, for the Leafs tonight, being physical, using some of their size and toughness.
Well, Pat Quinn wants McAllister to be much more physical. That's one of his weaknesses. He's got great size, but he's not physical all the time. Pat uses the word belligerent. He wants to be more belligerent. Watch here. Chelios comes in. This is how Chelios plays. That's a big body. Chris, and again, this is what I love about Chris Chelios. He's hurt. What does he do? He gets to the bench. He don't lay there. He's hurt. He went right to the dressing room. He's not on the bench right now, but he wasn't going to let anybody on either team see him laying there. He got up and got to the bench. Boy, that's what makes that guy special.
Not sure what is wrong with Danny Markov, one of the star young defensemen for Toronto, but I believe McAllister is taking Markov's place in the lineup tonight.
I think a motivation thing. Maybe Markov struggled of late. They wanted to wait him up and put McAllister in. Maybe they just wanted to let that big guy get a little ice time. You need lots of defensemen when you're going to go for the Stanley Cup, which Toronto is. You don't want one guy sitting for 20 games before he plays in the playoffs. Maybe either one of those things.
Markov is the team's plus-minus leader coming in tonight, plus 15.
Great young defenseman.
Shot into the Toronto zone. Kozlov wins the race for the puck. Yuskevich trying to swing it around. And it's out at center. Here's Sundin. Quick little pass for Jonas Hoagland having a career year. Drop pass there. Sundin towards the front of the net is knocked aside. Osgood put a little stick on Steve Thomas there. Here's Sundin. Back to the point. Max will get it back. Tipped in front. Stopped by Osgood. Still loose. And Murphy put it back off his shin pad towards his own goal. Hoagland picks it off. Centering feed. And the cool veteran play of 20 years in the NHL tells you just shoot it down the ice.
You can feel when your team is tired. You can feel when you need a change. You're right. That's a veteran guy.
That's a veteran of like 53 NHL arenas, like Larry Murphy has played in. 53. That includes neutral site games if you're still at home. And we hope you are. And across the line now. Korolev couldn't get to it. Dandino works it free for Todd Gill. Gill was picked up last year at the trading deadline by Detroit. Signed with Phoenix in the offseason. He's picked up again by Detroit for the playoff push here.
You can never have enough defensemen in the playoffs. Somebody's going to get hurt. It's a long grind. You got to win 16 games and 25 games in 50 days. You got to have defensemen.
Yuri Fisher, for example, is a healthy scratch tonight. Everybody loves that kid.
Well, every team wanted to get him at the deadline. That's why Detroit didn't make any moves at deadline. Stevie Thomas, I think, is one of the great forwards in the league. Just like Patty Verbeek, he makes his game in front of the net. That makes Matt Sundin and Hoagland better because he's the guy that does the ugly stuff in front of the net, taking the hits, taking the cross checks. Right there, almost a great tip. Almost went between Osgood's legs. But if Thomas or Verbeek don't go to the net, those other guys don't get all the goals because that's the dirty work it takes to score a goal. Great player. Got a 1,000 game the other night. He was telling us the Leafs gave him a score sheet from the first game he played for the Leafs and the score sheet from the 1,000 game he played for the Leafs. That was nice tonight.
Off the face-off. Shot. Knocked aside there. It's trying to see who got hit on the far side. Duchesne really got leveled right on the blue line as he got that shot off.
Chelios is back. I knew it.
Nick Antropov, a shot wide of the net, looking to play the camera, but it goes right to Fedorov. Nice stick handling by Sergei Fedorov to get it out of his zone.
Is that what you call that?
By Stacey Roos. Towards the net. Blocked aside by Joseph. Here's Antropov looking to break. Antropov trying to get it through. McAllister couldn't get it. We go the other way. Roos is rubbed out. Far side. Here's Gilchrist trying to win the battle. Gilchrist is taken out there by Dinnick. Up for Berezin, the lone goal scorer of the game. Turnover to the point. He can't handle, and Berezin regains. And he'll just flip it up the middle of the ice. And this will go for icing. 14:22 left here in the second period. Toronto a 1-0 lead.
Sergei Fedorov, we just showed that nice stick handling, as you mentioned, at the corner. I think it's a little bit more than nice stick handling. Puck is bouncing. Wow. There's one. Whoops. See it. 3 Leafs go by him. That's their fault, too. Someone should have knocked him on his butt. This guy, one night, I was coaching L.A. He scored 5 goals against us and missed a penalty shot that night.
So you must have had quite a defensive plan to shut him down.
We tied the game. That year, he was just fantastic. He just couldn't stop Sergei Fedorov. He was just the best player in the world that year.
Shot stopped by Joseph. Wrapped around the far side. Draper and Domi go for it. Gilfer, soft little pass for Lidstrom shot. Stopped by Joseph. Cujo looks sharp tonight.
Cujo looks sharp every night, especially after a rest. And he knows this is a big game. In Detroit against a team that they might see in the Stanley Cup Finals, they want to send a message tonight.
I was going to ask you, is this a realistic Stanley Cup potential finals preview?
Very realistic. Very realistic. You got the Lindros situation in Philly. The Devils aren't playing great right now. Easily could be Toronto out of the East. Easily could be Detroit out of the West.
Adams dumps in front and leads them back to center. You like Detroit's chances better, though, than Toronto's to reach the final?
I do, because I just think New Jersey and Philly are so strong.
Adams lets it go. Short side. He was banged by Draper. Chris King is on it for Toronto. Cross couldn't hold the zone. It's similar to what happened to Dandino that led to the Toronto goal. Let's see if Detroit can count it. Draper banned on his shot, almost working their benefit because it threw things off the timing, but in the end it does not. And as Todd Gill goes back to the touch, icing is called. 13:09 left to play here in the second. In Hockeytown, the home team finds themselves trailing. Sergei Berezin had the goal as he broke in and beat Chris Osgood. The left of Curtis Joseph, Steve Levy, Barry Melrose, and our fine National Hockey Night crew coming to you from Joe Louis Arena. A sold-out capacity crowd on hand as usual. So Joe sold out for the 170th consecutive Red Wings game.
Eisenman and Verbeek have had 3 different left wingers so far in this game, and it's only 30 minutes old. So you see Scotty moving the lines around as he does all the time. He's a master of that. I love him doing that. A lot of coaches don't try that. He plays everybody with everybody.
Knocked down at center by Thomas. Verbeek is cut off nicely by Cross. Trying to work it through. Can't. Leafs look to cap. Here's Sundin with the speed. He's got Thomas with him. Trying to get it across to him. It was tipped. And then behind Thomas. Wings played it perfectly to get the angle. That bouncing puck didn't allow Toronto to get a shot on goal. Here's a shot wide of the net by Oakland. And again, we'll watch for the ice. We tacked on the extra 4 minutes here in the second period.
Some buildings it would be a problem, Steve, not here in Detroit. I think the ice is good enough that it can handle 24 minutes of ice.
Into the penalty box, and that's why we get the whistle. Well, tomorrow, ESPN's week-long coverage of the ATP Tennis Masters Series event from the New Indian Wells Tennis Garden continues with coverage.
Lane, it would have had to been a perfect saucer pass, tape to tape for that goal to get put in, even for a shot. Great defense by those 2 veterans. Good execution almost by Sundin and Thomas. You see, Sundin lofted it over there. Everything was right. It was about 6 inches away from Thomas's stick. So 4 great players were working together there.
Matt Sundin, of course, the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He and his teammates have been dealing, of course, with the injury to Brian Berard. I showed you the B on the back of the Leaf helmets earlier, and there's a good look at it there, the helmet of Thomas Carvelet. We only wish the best for Brian Berard, the native of Woonsocket, Rhode Island. As Pat Quinn told us earlier, he's back home.
I gotta think Brian is probably watching tonight. You don't have a lot of choices for TV in Woonsocket, do you?
Huge cable system there. Any cable system that carries ESPN2 is a good cable system. Tough to get it in Detroit, the city of Detroit. Problems getting ESPN2.
Brian Berard, first player drafted, first pick overall, 33 years old, great offensive ability. As Pat Quinn said, a great competitor. That's what made him special.
I'll tell you what I got talking about Brian Berard from some of the guys. They're off the record, he said. Everybody says he's the greatest guy in the locker room. The most popular teammates on this club. Here's Kristich now. And that won't change, by the way, folks, whether he plays hockey again or not. This is what it looks like.
Detroit penalty behind the play.
Carvelet picks up a loose puck. Ahead for Tucker, who is helmetless. Here's Darcy Tucker on Gill. Only now does Joseph leave for that. It's probably an extra 10 seconds. Could have got the extra attacker on. Carvelet shot. Stick save by Osgood. Still loose. Ball backhand shot. Natural pop can't get the shot on goal. And Maltby will touch it up. And we get the whistle for the delayed penalty. Tucker goes over to pick up his lid
and say something. Darcy Tucker, wherever Darcy goes to do something, he goes to do something, but he also has to say something to somebody on the way there. Roughing behind the play. Looks like Maltby got caught there. But Maltby, you know, if he gets caught once doing something, you know he's done something 10 times. So he's always ahead of the game. Right here, Tucker gets it. Maltby's with him. Oh, I see the little elbow behind the head, trying to drive poor little Darcy Tucker's face into the ice there. That's what Maltby does, boy. At the end of the night, you're mad at him. But Tucker plays the exact same way. Two antagonists going at it right there. Don't feel sorry for either one of those guys, folks. Tucker would have done the exact same thing to Maltby if he had a chance.
Hey, we told you how popular Brian Berard was in the room. So don't believe us. Just listen to his head coach and GM.
I think it's going to have to work its way through. Clearly, it was a very emotional thing that happened. And every player has to deal with it himself so he can refocus back on the jobs at hand. We do have jobs, and a good pro is able to deal with all the distractions that he has in his life, and athletes have lots of them. This happened to be one that was close to us. Obviously, it was in our dressing room, but we're going to have to refocus ourselves. But it's the time of year that all clubs have to go through this sort of exercise.
Thoughts from Pat Quinn, the GM and head coach, an old-time hockey guy. Maltby for roughing at 9:02. This is the first Toronto power play of the hockey game. It's the third minor penalty we've had so far, and it's been rough. There's no penalties. It's been a good, clean hockey game. Bouncing puck off a skate. Sundin able to keep it, and a shot fired to the far side. And Detroit's able to escape without that gap.
Pat Quinn's most famous feat was drilling Bobby Orr in the playoffs. Knocked Bobby Orr cold right in Boston. They had to protect Pat Quinn, put him out of the rink by police that night in Boston. So that's what I'll always remember Pat Quinn for, was his defensive with these Toronto Maple Leafs.
Two-time winner of the Jack Adams as coach of the year. Big guy. And double guy. Shot from the point. Stopped by Osgood with traffic. And he'll hang on.
Toronto's got to do a better job of getting in front of Osgood. It was a good shot from the point by Karpatsev, but Osgood saw that puck the whole way. Good goaltenders in the NHL today. If they see the puck 99 times out of 100, they're going to make the save. That's why it's so important to put a man right in his line of vision. Not off to the side trying to deflect it, right in his line of vision. It's Chris Osgood right there. You see the shot come from the point. See? He's able to see that puck coming right in. You got to get right in front of him, not let him see that. Go through the pants, go through the legs, whatever, but cannot pick that puck up. If he sees it, he'll stop it.
Osgood is second on the all-time Detroit list in wins and shutouts. He's got 27 shutouts all time. He's only 58 shutouts behind Terry Sawchuk. Hope I get that next season.
That'll be a good year. That might be the Vezina.
Just want to make sure you were paying attention there. Man. Oh, you know, Patrick Lauer saying, will he catch Sawchuk this season or will it be next season? Chris Osgood that catches him when he shut out the puck in the Detroit uniform. Think of the season after that. Barrison rips the shot and Osgood to save it. He flies tonight.
Detroit plays Colorado late this year, Steve, so that might be a bigger game than usual even.
Shot from Yuskevich, bounced in on Osgood. It's clear. 25 left on the penalty.
Toronto doesn't throw the puck around near as much as Detroit does on the power play. Goes more back to the point, to the front of the net. Little simpler power play. Not as much can go wrong. But Detroit certainly moves it around a little bit better on their power play.
Battle for along the wall. A couple of wings involved. It scores three. Tucker to Barrison. Top of the circle round. Here's Sergei Barrison. They look to set it up. Cross ice pass. Maltby's out of the box. That's why Joseph was chopping on his stick down at the other end of the ice to alert his teammates. Maltby out of the box. Some contact with Joseph. That's Kirk Maltby hockey right there. Just enough to take you off.
Just enough to make you angry. Exactly right.
Adams flipped the towards in front of that. Tucker couldn't get there in time. Here's Fabicos to check on Adams. And we get a whistle. Penalty away from the puck, it looked like. And it'll be a hooking call by the sound of the crowd. Looks like it'll go against Detroit.
Right there, 2 minutes for hooking. It happened very far back in the play. Right here, Barrison, as I said, we mentioned this guy's name all night long. Great news for Toronto. A little tug on the arm. He goes down. There's the penalty. Stevie didn't like the call, as nobody likes the call, but he went to the penalty box and feels shame.
The obligatory slap shot reference. Yzerman for hooking, 11:25. Second power play of the night for the Leafs. Toronto has scored a power play goal in 4 consecutive games coming into this one. Here's Maltby, picks it off at center. Trying to make something out of nothing, and Kopicev with a stick in the way. Here's Thomas trying to free Hoagland up. Here's Steve Thomas from the angle. Ripped it. Hoagland, the puck bounced on him. And he couldn't get a shot at a yarding net.
That's a goal if that puck's not bouncing. Exactly right.
And Chelios at center. Backhand in. And they call it offside at the Toronto blue line. 7:52 left in the second. 1:17 left in the power play.
Well, there's one of my favorite players, Chris Chelios. I love to talk about him. I love to watch him play. He's what hockey's all about. We use the word macho. I use the word courage. I use the word bravery, competing, passion. This guy's got it all. He's the ultimate warrior. He plays hard every night. If you're in the playoffs, if you're out of the playoffs, we saw what he did with Chicago last season, last couple of years. That situation in Chicago, he just kept coming to the rink and battling every night. Well,
you saw Lidstrom sitting next to him. None of Detroit's big four on defense. Chelios, Lidstrom, Murphy, or Duchesne has missed a single game all year. All four have played all 71 games, including tonight. That's amazing.
If you look at Chelios' career, and he plays hard. I can understand the other three because they don't play quite like Chelios. But this guy is hurt very, very little for the way he plays.
And I understand that. Larry Murphy's on the ice. Murphy in 20 seasons, Larry's missed a total of 27 games. That's unbelievable.
But they're not physical defensemen. Lidstrom's not a physical defenseman. Duchesne's not a physical
Barry,
defenseman.
27 games in 20 years. I'll do the math for you. That's about just over one game missed per season. He's terrible. Exactly. Now they're going to find you someplace. Tip, shot, score! Welcome back to the Toronto lineup, Dmitry Kristich. It's a power play goal, and Toronto takes a 2-0 lead.
Well, you saw Kristich's hands, and that's why they got this guy from Boston. As I said earlier, this guy can play both ends of the rink. He's good offensively. He's good defensively. He has scored a lot of goals in the NHL. He's just coming back from an injury. He's probably in the lineup tonight because Yannick Crow's out back home, hoping to have a baby. And again, who's coming out of the corner? Berezin off the skate right there. Murphy, you mentioned Murphy, went right to Kristich, and Kristich knows what to do with it. Watch it. Good offensive players. Just find a dead spot in the defense. Look at that. No one's near him. He wants a puck. Gets Murphy's skate. Forehand, backhand, right up, off of the pad of Osgood, right up to the top of the net. Osgood did everything he can. He's got to head that post because Berezin goes to net hard. And that's the only place he can score is put it right over that pad upstairs.
Two interesting things there I saw. First of all, was that a pass from Berezin?
No. He'll say it was in the dressing room, but it wasn't.
And the other thing I thought was interesting is Kristich set up on his backhand. So he was all set up for a forehand. He purposely went to the backhand.
Quick hands, quick hands. Goal scorers can go from side to side like that and not lose a beat. A bomber goes in there. If it goes to his backhand, he's going to go right into the pad. But a goal scorer can put those in. And Berezin is trying to score.
Here for the Leafs. Centering feet. Oh! How did Yzerman shoot that one wide from close quarters? Chelios will get to it for Detroit. A great chance there for the captain of the Wings for his 30th goal of the season. Here's Yzerman again. Knowing Steve, that'll only make him more angry. He's determined to get another one. A penalty and missing the net from that close in the last few minutes for Steve Yzerman. Here's Kozlov for Larionov. Trying to feather it down low. It's broken up. Dandino had a stick chopped off, and it's cleared down the ice. Lidstrom is back. It's Kristich as well. Berezin gets an assist back from Tucker. A power play goal at 12:57. Fifth straight game Toronto has managed a power play goal. Dandino away from the people inside the zone there. Here's Fedorov. Nice little pass for Larionov. Gives it back to Fedorov. He goes across. That looks like a Detroit power play, but it's not. It is 5-on-5. Fedorov keeps it only momentarily as Cross spins and fires it out. Here's Berezin. Got the jump tonight. This pass picked up nicely by Lidstrom and a soft outlet pass. And Detroit clears in. Red Wings go for changes.
Don't forget, Yzerman's in the penalty box. He would have been out there taking that draw, clearing that penalty right off the start. The puck never got out of the Detroit end. Ended up in the net.
Duchesne, the touch for icing. With 5:04 left, they'll bring it back down into the Toronto end. Benjamin missed from close quarters, Barry. Did he miss?
I think he missed, but it's really close. Great play by Verbeek. You can't leave that guy open. It either nicked the post. Cujo's over there. But Stevie's angry because he was in the penalty box and they scored a power play goal. Expect him to have a great 25 minutes what's left of this game. He's going to be super.
You don't want to play against an angry Steve Eisenman. He's feisty. The point shot right on. Joseph was there. And I'll tell you, Joseph rescues his defenseman Coverley, who let LaPointe go just enough to get a shot.
There's Coverley, great young defenseman. His brother just got traded to Atlanta in the Buckberger deal from LA, his older brother. But great pass, brings it out of the zone really well. Excellent young defenseman, Toronto Maple Leafs. They got a lot of young defensemen. Right here, big Marty LaPointe. No one's going to move him in front of the net. Look at Cujo. Everything away. The only way that goal gets scored is if it goes right over his shoulder, and that's a tough play. Marty's in front of the net. Cujo just takes everything away down low, as all defensemen do now. Marty, if you can put that over my shoulder, you got it, baby. But I ain't going to give it to you on the ice.
Coverley leads all Toronto defensemen with 7 goals. He's done 22 games now without a goal, and he still leads. Says something about him, just about the rest of the defensive work for the Leafs. That's one area that will sorely miss Ryan Barrard.
You mentioned Coverley. They got the other young defenseman, Markov, who's not in the lineup tonight. Their stock is a good young defenseman. And you're right, Barrard was the other one, the 3 young defensemen under 25. So that's a big blow to them more than one way.
I think the Wings have one defenseman under 25. Maybe Matthew
They got one under 35.
2-on-2 battle. Final the players split up. Here's Maltby. Checked by Gerald Bennett. Pretty good playoff pickup. Draper had that thump on Christic to turn it back to Detroit.
This is the first time this line has been together. LaPointe, Draper, and Maltby. This is an energy line. They want to go and get things mixed up, get the flow going again Detroit's way.
Icing call with 3:59 left in the second, and it's 2-0 in favor of the Leafs. Tonight, 11:30 Eastern. Tune in for NHL Tonight. John Butchergrass will have scores, highlights, and news from around the league, as well as the Eastern Conference playoff picture, fantasy facts, injury update on Zygmunt Palffy and Peter Nedved. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com.
Well, I mentioned that line was out there to do some damage, to change the energy, to change the momentum. Right here, Draper comes in, drills Kristich. Kristich went to the bench. That sparked him. LaPointe's got it. He's too big for you, Darcy. That don't bother Darcy at all, though. Marty comes back, gives him a little shot there, but that's what that line's out there for. Short's a little flat right now. Go out and get the momentum back their way.
Face off to the left of Joseph. Draw one by Toronto.
Now they got Shanahan back with Eisenman and Verbeek. So they got the big 3 guys together to get some offense going.
Chop that. Murphy will get it out to center. Sundin backhands it in the zone. Oscar to leave it there for the far side. Here's Brendan Shanahan. Shanahan winding up at center. Get across the line. He's got plenty of help. Trying to get it through him again off the give and go. Went too far. And Joseph made the stick save as Corey Cross had Shanahan tied up.
And again, you see where Cujo puts that puck right in the corner. He wasn't even anywhere near Shanahan with that big reach here.
At center, Aaron pass all the way back to Coverley. For the Leafs. Off Sundin's stick. Verbeek got a touch of it. Gets a stick up to Coverley. 3-on-2 as they hit the Detroit line. Back pass shot. Oh, what a play that was. Matt Sundin fired off the pretty pass there, I think by Gary Vaughn. Here's Vaughn now and across the line. They're offside. Berezin was ahead of the play.
When you're a young goaltender, Steve, the main thing you do is stop the puck. That's the main thing a coach tells you. The initial shot is yours. You don't let the initial shot beat you. When you get older, when you get to the NHL, then you got to start handling rebounds. You got to start putting the puck into corners, to the side. You don't kick rebounds out in front of the net. And the higher level you go, you got to do that better, because those are the goals that kill you. Rebound goals, loose puck goals. Look at Sundin here, jumping through the middle. Good quick release. Right there you see, going to the front of the net, screen shot. Rebound is kicked by the man going to the front of the net. So good play by Cujo. And watch Cujo. Puck's right to the side, away from any damage that Shanahan can give. More important what you give.
This will go for icing as Chelios on the touch. 2:36 left in the second. Curtis Joseph has 31 wins now. That's fourth most in the NHL, Barry. Last season, he set the Toronto all-time club record with 35. He's got a shot of breaking his own record this season.
And again, what makes that so special is, you know, you expect Brodeur to do it. That's a defensive team. Dallas is a defensive team. They stress defense first. The teams that Cujo's been on the last part of his career, Edmonton and Toronto, are offensive teams. They stress offense first. So Cujo's seen way more 2-on-1s. He's seen way more 3-on-2s, and yet his numbers are always good as anybody else.
Centering feed. Cuthbert's had a whack, couldn't get it on goal. Here's a 2-on-1 for Toronto. It's Berezin and Vaughn. The scouting report. If you got a 2-on-1 and Berezin's one of the players, you take the shot, right?
Berezin's got the puck, he's going to shoot it. If he doesn't have the puck, he wants it. But that's what you want. He's a goal scorer. You want him in that situation. You don't want him passing the puck.
Well, to take some of the guessing game away from the goalie, right? Osgood had to know if Berezin was going to shoot the puck, and he did.
And when you're a defenseman, Steve, on the team that faces Toronto, that's something you should know. You should know who's coming down on you in the 2-on-1. Berezin, 9 times out of 10, he's going to shoot it. Someone else like Sundin is 50-50. That's what makes Sundin special. Other guys might pass it every time. So you got to know that when you're a defenseman, who's coming down on you.
Does Gary Vaughn go back to the bench and say something?
No,
Did that ever happen?
Gary Vaughn goes to net. He knows his role with Berezin. He's quacking the whole way. He's a decoy, baby.
Here's Murphy. At center. Mike Kozlov gets it back. Kozlov rips it on goal. Right off the Leaf symbol of the chest protector of Joseph, and he's able to hang on. Oh, we mentioned Pat Quinn, the dual role, head coach and GM. Barry asked him about standing pat with his team.
I think what we've been doing now is just switching opportunities to score, and we're a pretty good scoring team, but you know that once you get in the playoffs, it gets a lot tighter. There's not that room and time to make the plays out there, and you can't just play badminton with scoring chances. You have to try to make sure that the opposition is not getting very good quality chances, at the same time generate your own. So we're not doing a good enough job at cutting down the chances for the opposition.
That's exactly what we talked about when that puck went around the boards earlier in the first period to Holmgren. He didn't get it out. That's what he wants to see stopped. He wants to see that puck get out every time it comes around the wall. Little things like that win you championship.
Kozlov spins away from a check there. Minute 10 left in the second quarter. Traffic in front. LaPointe had his stick up with McAllister. That looked like it impeded Cujo a bit. McAllister blocked that one, and it rolls off the stick of Shanahan.
Cujo was trying to get the golden goal there when he went down like a sack of flour.
Doby throws the tip. Kept it in the Toronto zone now. Off the boards. That was like a hit Ray Scapanello. That reminds me about the helmet.
See Ray get cut the other night, never stopped him, never missed a beat, blood dripping down his face, never missed a shift. That's the old timers do that.
Dan McCord also. Very rare in officiating through none of the 3 or 4 Williams. That's what we have tonight. Green helmet. Scramble in front. Verbeek is sent flying to the ice by McAllister. And I do not believe we'll have a penalty on the play. It was sort of after the fact.
That's what I told you about Patty Verbeek. His job on this line is to go to the front of the net hard all the time. Let Cujo know that if he doesn't handle one of those rebounds, that Verbeek's going to put it in. He's 2 goals away from 500. He's done it a lot in his career. So Joseph has to worry about the rebound, and he's got to worry about stopping the puck. Now McAllister's job is to get that little ball of hate out of there. Don't let him stand there. Get him away from the front of the net so Cujo can see the puck, and even if he does drop it, there's no rebound. Look at Patty go to the net, boy. 1 chance, 2 chance. He's got to get out of there even quicker than that. So, but that's what Patty does. That's how he's got 498 goals, right around that crease area. Cujo knows that. Cujo sees him coming out of the corner of his eye. 1 chance, 2 chances, and then the defense finally come in and help Cujo out there.
Barry, does Detroit have more of those agitators than anyone else? I mean, you look up and down their lineup. Verbeek, Maltby is like that. LaPointe, Chelios, Draper.
They seem to have all those guys. Here's my point. Detroit did until Dallas got the Mike Keens of the world and the Langenbruners of the world and the Verbeeks of the world. Yep. That's why Dallas took over and won the Stanley Cup last year. Talent is great. They win the championship. You also got to have that grit. The guys like Verbeek and Riccardi and Keen give you.
Get a penalty this time. There was some interference, looked like with Joseph as Yzerman was taken down, but it looks like one of the Leafs will go.
17.9 seconds on the power play here, so really you're just going to try and win the draw, get a couple shots before the before the penalty ends. It happens because Yzerman wins the draw clean. Shanny gets it. Both guys go to the front of the net like they're supposed to. Sundin puts a stick between his legs, ties him up. does his job. The centerman's got to take the other team's centerman on that draw. So really, Matty does his job. Just got caught with a penalty. Next time that wouldn't be called. But good coverage by Toronto down low. Just got caught breaking the rules a little bit, Steve.
The hold 1942. Third power play of the night. This will be a quickie. And of course, if they don't score, it'll carry over. And they get a rather lengthy power play to start the third.
And probably Sundin, if he wasn't in the penalty box, would be on the ice taking his draw for Toronto. He's Toronto's best draw man. So again, it shows who's in the box is very important to the outcome of these situations.
Benefits of the split power play, I guess you get the fresh slate of ice.
I hate starting third. I hate starting a power play as a team. I'd much rather kill penalties. You're never sharp when you come out of there. The guys just don't have the fire and stuff like they did when they went in. It takes them a few minutes to get warmed up, and by then it's too late.
Face-off, Detroit wins. Stopped by Joseph from the angle. That shot is blocked. Corpus is shaken up again. Farah, stopped by Joseph. And a hang on. There is no rebound.
I thought Darren Pang did a great job Tuesday night in Colorado, showing what butterfly goalies do. How they go down with the pads and take away the bottom of the net, and they tell you, look, you're going to be under pressure when that puck comes to you. If you've got enough talent to take that puck with a man coming on you and throwing that up under the bar, I got to give you a goal. Right there, Cujo went down, took everything away at the bottom of the net. Fedorov was under pressure. He just threw it at the net. He didn't get it up. Cujo ate him up. Great move by Shanahan. Now watch here. There's the butterfly. Everything on the ice is covered. Good quick pass in here. Fedorov knows he doesn't have a lot of time. Doesn't get anything on it. Bottom of the net's covered.
Alexander Karpovtsev is headed to the Leafs dressing room after blocking that shot. Leafs came in with a 5-point lead in the division over Ottawa. The last time Toronto won a division title of any kind, you've got to go back to 62-63. Was that your Leaf team?
But they did win the Stanley Cup in '67. That was my favorite team. I lived and died with the Leafs then, boy.
You didn't play for them, man.
I was the greatest fan in the world. I love the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Face-off one a bit too well, goes all the way down. Horn sounds, a minute 42 of power play time will carry over for Detroit into the third. And when we start the third, the Leafs will do so with a 2-0 lead. Beverson and Kristich have the goals. ESPN News is next.
I bequeath my pizza.
ESPN2's coverage of National Hockey Night is brought to you by Nortel Networks. We're building the new high-performance internet. By Cadillac, the power of and the fusion of design and technology. And by Avis, we try harder. Steve Levy, Barry Melrose back in the Motor City. The Toronto Maple Leafs lead the Detroit Red Wings 2-0 as we get you set for third period action. Sergei Berezin is leading all players in tonight's game, Barry, and it's no surprise in shots on goal. He's got 5, and he's leading in other ways as well.
Well, I think if Detroit wants to get back in this game, they got to score in this power play. They got to stop Sergei Berezin. What's he done tonight? All he's done has been dangerous. Every time he stepped on the ice, almost scores here. Scores in this play when Matthew Danton, who hasn't seen much ice time since that play, draws a penalty on Steve Yzerman, goes in the power play, makes a play on that power play in front to Dmitry Kristich to give him a 2-0 lead. So he's been a one-man wrecking crew. They got to stop that guy.
And as you pointed out, we start the third with a power play for Detroit. And you said you hate that. Break up the power play. Don't start a penalty crash. Let's see. Shot. A pretty sharp there. Shot. Score. I think it's off Joseph and Ed. It's Brendan Shanahan. And it's 2-1.
And again, what you'll see happen is Shanahan and Yzerman are the beneficiary of Patty Verbeek. Patty Verbeek goes in front of the net. That's his job in the power play. Create havoc, create a distraction. You see a great play there by Fedorov. Now watch Verbeek in front of the net. Misses on that one. Oh, it just happens to have a hold of that defenseman's stick so he can't get across to Shanahan. That's what the little ball of hate does right there. Creates havoc in front of the net. Also helps to have a 50-goal scorer like Shanahan with a puck in this situation. Picks it up on the rebound. Karpovtsev loses him behind the net. Wide open net because the defenseman cannot get around because Verbeek's holding his stick. So good team effort there by everybody. Watch the puck come right back to Fedorov here or to Shanahan. Two guys don't beat him to the corner and he puts it in the open side.
13th power play goal of the season for Brendan Shanahan. Breaks a deadlock and now stands in third in the NHL all by himself. Chuck from Hope is deflected into the crowd. and out of play. 16 seconds in. Most of the people had not returned to their seats from the concession stands and will have missed the only goal to this point by Detroit.
Well, good execution by the Leafs. They did, or by the Red Wings. They did everything they had to do. They had to get the puck down low. They had to have a man in front of the net. They had to outwork the penalty killers, which they did. And again, I mentioned earlier, that's what Patty Verbeek does with this line. He goes to the front of the net, which creates space for Shanahan, Yzerman, Fedorov. Could easily be a penalty against Verbeek. Instead, makes a great play on the goal that puts Detroit right back in the game.
See how that changes the complexion of the game. We thought it was key they get something in that first few minutes of power play time to start the period.
Now it's key that Toronto takes momentum back from Detroit the next couple minutes here. So watch if that happens. Watch if Toronto get the puck in Detroit and do some things there.
Murphy lets it go. Stopped by Joseph. Rebound right to Yzerman now. Comes out, quick shot, and stopped by Joseph. And it's back at center ice, is cleared. Matt Sundin has all 3 minor penalties in the game for Toronto. Here's Kozlov ahead of the field. Kozlov stopped by Joseph. And no rebound. So it's all Detroit. But it's Curtis Joseph with the big stop, a minute 17 into the third.
Well, as I said, Toronto has to get the momentum back from Detroit. It's all theirs right now. Kozlov, he does this consistently. Great speed. Cujo makes the save, controls the rebound. Again, we've been talking about that. More important than a save sometimes is controlling the rebound. Kozlov is behind the defense, pucks under the pads. Cujo ties it up. Everybody does a good job keeping the Detroit players away from Cujo in that situation. But you can't fall asleep against Detroit. This team comes back against so many teams. They just keep playing the same way over and over again. Just keep battling.
Chelios shot it into the corner. The Leafs skip to it and push it out. Inside the Detroit zone now. Here's Darcy Tucker on it. Somebody's smiling on Darcy Tucker, right? We get traded from Tampa to Toronto.
And turned 25 yesterday, so everybody's going Darcy Tucker's way. Got a bunch of bonuses. He made a bunch of bonuses. Made a lot of money coming to Toronto here.
Big month for birthdays for this one. Centering feed. Shot. Stop. Joseph will hang on again. And Kozlov takes a swipe at one of the Leafs as there's heavy contact after the whistle.
Toronto's got to take something away. There's Tucker trying to get the momentum back, but right now it's all Detroit. They're winning the loose puck battles. They're winning the battles in front of the net. They're winning the battles in the corner. Toronto's got to get that back. Toronto had it for 2 periods. They don't have it right now. Kozlov's a great battle. Very underrated player. Look at him go to the front of the net, just like Patty Verbeek, sticking his nose in there. Helmet comes off. Excellent player. Very underrated player on this Detroit team, Slava Kozlov. Boy, he does a lot of good teams. Got a lot of good things for this Detroit team that goes unlooked because of the guys like Shanahan and Fedorov and Yzerman to get all the ink. Every team in the NHL would love to have Slava Kozlov. I'll guarantee you that.
He struggled a bit lately. 5 consecutive games without a point as you look at his numbers in the season. But he doesn't get the quality ice time because there's so many good players ahead of him.
Hasn't been on a power play yet tonight. He's got 18 goals. He has scored 30 goals in the NHL.
Shanahan picked up his 38th Verbeek and Fedorov power play goal. 16 seconds into the third period here, giving us our 2-1 hockey game. Berezin and Kristich have the goals for Toronto. Handed over the touch, and icing is called.
Well, there's Detroit Red Wings, and again, they've been in this situation so many times in big games. A goal down in the third period. They're not going to panic. They're not going to change the way they play. The sign of a good team, a really good team, is when you walk in the third period, if you haven't been here all game, you don't know if you're losing by 5 or winning by 5. A good team plays the same way all the time. Keep going at you, keep winning the physical battles, keep getting the puck to the net, keeping a guy high, good pinches by the defense. That's how Detroit plays night after night. That's how Dallas plays night after night. St. Louis, all the good teams play that way.
Gilchrist won that faceoff with some good help from his wingers. But Toronto gets possession. 3-on-2 as they hustle across the line. Berezin on a 3-on-2 shoots the puck, as you would expect. It's documented. And Osgood made the glove save for him. Stacey Bruce is on it. Giveaway from Bruce. That shot stopped by Osgood. And up clearing himself off the glass.
Toronto needed a shift. They needed a good offensive shift in the Detroit end. Things around.
Stacey Bruce getting a chance. Scratch, a healthy scratch the last 10 games. 16 of the last 17, but he's back in the Detroit lineup tonight.
Stacey knows his role. He knows he's not going to be in the lineup every night.
Here's Falk centering feed. Berezin shot, trying to sneak it to the 5-hole, and Osgood closed the gap.
Berezin is just the best player on the ice right now by either team. He's dangerous every time he steps on the ice. He's had a breakaway. He's had 2-on-1s. He throws the puck at the net. He knows his job. You want him to shoot the puck. In that situation, you're mentioning a 3-on-2. You got men going to the net. He should shoot it. If he doesn't score an initial shot, someone will put the rebound in. He's just on fire right now, boy. He's quick. He's aggressive, smart, playing with two good players there. Falk's on that line because in drop-off and Berezin aren't great defensively, so Falk's always going to be the high guy.
See the shots for Berezin. By far the leader. That's 200 on the year. Barry, he's missed a total of 20 games due to injuries, and yet he is still by far the leader on the Leafs in terms of shots on goal.
He knows he's not being paid to pass. He knows he's being paid to shoot and score goals.
And he has that rare assist tonight so far. His 11th of the season. Here's Gill now. Shanahan. Connor working free. Comes back to it. Hooks the skate. Centering feed. Verbeek couldn't handle it within his skates. At Verbeek again, 2 goals shy of becoming the 28th player in NHL history with 500 goals. Eisenman was dumped at center. Gill is back on it. Chelios cross ice pass. Knocked down by Chris King. Rather Kevin Adams. To Ty Doby. King to the front of the net. Adams in deep. Gets it. Somehow got it away from Verbeek. Kevin Adams trying to circle away from him. Can't that time. Chelios loses momentarily. Buckner gains. And reverses the flow to Shanahan.
Toronto likes Adams. They just gave him a new 2-year deal, I believe. He's a big centerman. He plays aggressive. He's got some skills. So they like to get those guys locked up in their organization for a while.
And a goal and 5 shots on goal last night. And a 5-2 loss. One of the few Leafs to play well. And the home loss to Chicago. Crowd wanted a call and won't get one.
I think Corey Frazier's called a very nice game. The people in Hockeytown tend to be homers here.
Think?
Can you believe it? That's why they're the best fans in the NHL.
Fedorov being hooked, slowed down, did it, rubs him out, little face to the glass. Fedorov, nice pass. What a play by Fedorov. Kozlov, turnaround shot, stopped by Joseph. And again, no rebound.
And again, one name you mentioned that was very important pickup by Toronto was Gerald Didick, big defenseman. He was a free agent. They signed him. They weren't gritty enough down low. That's why Clark was signed. That's why Tucker was signed. That's why Didick was signed. Guy that makes you pay when you come in front of the net. And again, Kozlov's there, boy. Kozlov's got quick feet. He's got a lot of guts. He goes to the front of the net. But again, Cujo takes everything a low way. You got to beat him upstairs if you're going to beat Cujo.
Tomorrow night on ESPN, there's more great National Hockey Night action for you. The team the Wings are chasing, the St. Louis Blues. They'll be in L.A. to take on the Kings. Exclusive national broadcast, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, over on ESPN.
Big loss by the Kings. They lost Ziggy for 2 to 4 weeks. They'll miss him. He's been playing great, scoring great. They'll definitely hurt their power play.
Here's a chance. Popped up in the air off the deflection. You'll also see the Blake Pronger matchup tomorrow night.
Yep. Arguably the 2 best defensemen in the NHL today.
And if you lose that argument, we've probably got the next best one, Nicholas Lidstrom here in Detroit.
Maybe the best one. You could argue that he's the best one. The most underrated because he's not a big physical guy, does a lot of bang.
Just so smooth, not flashy. Here's Sundin showing off the score. And the break. What a pass that was. 2-on-1. Here's Malkin. Lidstrom coming late. Shot! A rocket! And Joseph able to squeeze the pads, but that's been the key for Curtis Joseph tonight. 2 words that always follow save, no rebound.
And Nicholas Lidstrom is going to the net hard. If there was a rebound, Nicholas Lidstrom was making it a 2-on-1 coming late. So if Cujo doesn't handle that rebound, or if he kicks it to the right side of the rink and not the left side, there's going to be a chance right here. Defenseman pinches. Look at Lidstrom on the left side, number 5 jumping into play. Now if that rebound comes out in the middle, look how wide open he was. That was a wide open goal. Cujo knew that. Good goaltenders know that. If there was going to be a rebound, that puck was going to go to the left, not the right. Rebounds held, no chance. Cujo knows Lidstrom's coming on the right side of the screen there. Look at that. Rebounds held right between his legs.
Lidstrom is one of those guys, Barry. You almost have to watch him every night to appreciate him because he just doesn't make Sports Center. He doesn't make the flashy play. He just doesn't make any mistakes.
The guys that respect him are the guys on his team, the coaches, the people that see him play 82 games a year. They see him play in the playoffs. He gets about 20 minutes of penalties a year, so he's always out in the ice killing penalties.
Up for the
third in the NHL in minutes presence on the ice. Just a phenomenal player.
With Gretzky out of the way, maybe he gets the lady pick.
He wants a Norris. He don't want the lady pick.
Duchesne shot is blocked by Kristich, a whistle, and a penalty. It looked like Joseph was already on his knees when the puck was sent towards the front of the net. We'll see if the penalty had anything to do with it. Eiserman looks disappointed.
I think it's Patty Verbeek is going for interference in front of the net. They're all... No, it is Stevie Eisman. You're right. Away from the play again. I can't believe a night. I remember a night I saw him get 2 penalties.
2 penalties, and Sundin's got 3 for Toronto.
Those goons, they're ruining the game.
Tuning it up.
Well, Stevie's not happy. He usually controls himself. Let's watch off the draw. Stevie wins the draw. Now his job is to get to the front of the net. Centerman's job is to tie him up. Caberlet comes in front of the net. Oh, it's on Cujo. They're saying he bumped Cujo there, going through the crease. So
Stevie's got a case there.
But if you go to the front, you know, they got to protect the goaltenders. Oh man, he threw the towel, and now the knee to the camera.
Knee to our camera.
Oh man, that's vicious.
The voice goes up an octave or 2 to take a knee to the camera.
That's all Sanderson always wrecks our cameras in the penalty box.
Goaltender interference.
Yeah.
It looked like Conley gave him a shot, sort of pushed him into the goal. But we've had the benefit of 8 or 9 looks.
Yeah. Yeah.
5 minor penalties tonight combined by the Tampa.
And I think Carey probably knows that Verbeek is holding that stick on that 1 goal. So all that goes into play in the referee's mind. There's a lot of stuff going on in the mind of the referee.
The marble fury, by the end of the night, with the same amount of marbles in each pocket, right?
I haven't quite heard it put that way.
Mike Milbury talking.
There's other ways. I've heard it said the other way, different ways. That's maybe the nicest way I've ever heard it.
Well, you start with X amount of marbles. A penalty or a break for each team, put a marble in the respective pocket. By the end of the night, so the same amount of marbles in each pocket. Shelio swings it around. Right back the other way. 6.5 into the third. 2-1 Toronto. Maltby gets to it. And he is to come out. Rick Maltby's had some good jump tonight for the Twins. On Carpenter was blocked a couple of shots. And he's been banged up. You see Carpenter back out on the ice. A couple of years ago, he led the NHL plus one. Here's a chance. Oh! Great glove save on Steve Duchesne. Looked like 2 saves there as sticks come up high. Save of the hockey game, though, by Curtis Joseph, and that leads to this frustration.
Toronto's mad. Detroit's mad. Detroit's mad at Cujo. Toronto's mad at the guys that are mad at Cujo. Dando throws it in the crease. This is what this guy gives him. Every night, controls the rebound. There's no loose puck. And Shane and Thomas both go in the penalty box. We'll still have a power play situation for the Maple Leafs, but I'll tell you, guys that don't watch Cujo very much, you don't get to see this guy play. He's one of the best. I think he's one of the best 3 goaltenders in the NHL. If I had to play a game for all the marbles you were talking about, I'd take Cujo in a minute to play that game.
Over Hasek?
I still take Patrick Waugh 1.
Really?
I still think Patrick is the best money goaltender in the world. And Cujo might be 2. Cujo might be 2 for me. I know how he is. I know how he plays. I know how he competes.
Well, it's somewhat like we were talking about Lidstrom before. Hasek is much more spectacular.
Yeah.
Just like the other defensemen are more spectacular than Lidstrom, but in getting it done.
Getting the job done. And Cujo never talks in the press. He's never combative. He never says anything after a game like my defense sucks or anything like that. He just battles every night.
It's good that he doesn't say that. Poked away. And Shabby gets you the penalties.
Total professional night after night.
Yeah, guys, you don't worry about picking up the paper the next day and finding out they were in trouble. Reading far too much about that kind of thing in sports now. Offside ahead of the play was Matt Sundin, and sticks come up again now as Kozlov and Antropov come together momentarily. The Detroit Red Wings, and so dangerous when killing penalties.
And don't worry, the Toronto coaching staff has told their power play that, especially the defensemen. They know Detroit likes to take chances in shorthanded situations, especially in the third period. So the Toronto defensemen that are on the point in the power play know that.
Sergei had a busy week, had shorthanded goals in back-to-back games on Sunday against Dallas and Tuesday against Los Angeles. He's got 3 on the season, tied for 5th in the NHL shorthanded. Thomas and Duchesne each picked up 2 for high sticking at 6:56. 8 seconds left of power play time.
That's one of the reasons I think Bork going to Colorado is so important. Now Colorado doesn't have to use a forward on the point in the power play. It works, yes, you have good power plays, but maybe in the playoffs that forward back there will cost you a shorthanded goal against in a big game. So that was a great pickup in that one situation by the Colorado Avalanche.
One of those type players you're talking about was traded for. Brian Ralston was going to forward to play the puck. Here's a chance for the Detroit. Breaking in is Shanahan. Another save by Joseph, and again, no rebound. As players come together the side of the net. This third period could take a while.
So Detroit Red Wings are getting the shots right here. Shanny doing his job in the neutral zone. Puck's turned over, jumps into the play, as all great offensive players do. Gets a shot, but there's nothing there. Cujo takes away the bottom. Put it over my shoulder, Shanny. Don't forget these guys played together. That probably happened in practice. Now watch Patty Verbeek come in. Grabs the glove, pulls Cujo along. That's what Patty Verbeek does. He's one of the great agitators in the game, too, boy. He's always yapping and whacking and hacking. Great competitor. Great pickup by Detroit.
Still sitting on 498. If you can sit on 498 goals. A lot of guys would like to do that, right?
Oh, man.
Face off to the left of Curtis Joseph. In his last 7, Cujo is 6-1 with a goals against average of 2 even and a save percentage of .939.
That's getting her done.
And he's only allowed 1 goal tonight. He's been brilliant. Detroit's out shooting Toronto 30-20. Skip to it, able to clear it. Think about it. Joseph would have a lot more shots on goal against him tonight if he gave up rebounds. Well, he doesn't.
Like I said, when you watch a good goaltender, watch what he gives up. Watch where the puck is after he saves it. Sometimes the easiest thing in the world is to stop the puck. The hardest thing in the world is to throw no rebound.
Now the left of the ice. Hey, coming up. Eiserman was spilled. And Corey Cross doesn't like it.
That's just hard work that creates that power play chance. Eiserman just won the battle with Cross. Cross is not a swift skater. When you're against the Eisermans and the guys that are pretty quick, boy, once they get by you, you got to get a stick on him. You got to hook them and hold them just so they don't get in clean. Corey Cross got a big, long stick, but Eiserman just fights through that check. Right here, puck goes by Cross. He knows, God, I'm done. He's got to pull that guy down because he ain't going to catch him. Slow defensemen have a rough life, and that was me my whole life. Oh, I'm done.
Sounds like you're speaking from experience.
Oh, I know that feeling. Oh, God, he's behind me. I'm done. I'm never going to catch him.
Barry, of course, played right here in Detroit on one of the worst, if not the worst, Red Wings team, statistically speaking. One of the worst Red Wing teams in history.
We were good guys. We fought a lot. Oh, Steve Eisman was on that team, too.
That's so hard to believe that you actually played on the same team with Steve Eisman.
Adam Oates was on that team. Adam played.
Cross for hooking, 8:08, 4th power play of the night.
I was just on the start of the emergence. I laid the groundwork. I laid the bricks here, baby.
Just warming around for the good times, right?
Oh, yeah. I did all the dirty stuff early to get Hockey Town going.
What was Hockey Town before Hockey Town?
I think it was Jockey Town when we got here.
That's behind the net. And really slapped right at Kelly Frazier. Winslow to set up the power play. Keep in mind, Detroit last game allowed 2 shorthanded goals. First time in more than 8 years they allowed 2 shorthanded goals in the same game. On the power play here. Fedorov is on. And this capacity crowd at Joe Louis Arena, the 170th consecutive sellout in Hockey Town. On their feet, roaring for their Red Wings to get a power play goal. Here's Fedorov now. He's got Shanahan or Holmstrom. Eiserman and Lidstrom. Eiserman's got the puck. Cross for Lidstrom. Trying to set Shanahan up for the one-timer. Puck is loose. Holmstrom breaks through the crowd to get it. What's a bit of a pick from Fedorov. Fedorov gets it back and gives it back to Holmstrom now. Tinnick out to greet him. Center centering feed, tipped away by Carlson. Back behind the net. Here's Fedorov now. For Lidstrom. 50 seconds left in the man advantage. Lidstrom gets some space for Fedorov. Holmstrom was dumped. Crowd wanting another call on a 5-on-3. Won't get it. Here's Shanahan. Got a lane. Lets it go. The Carpenter blocks it. Holmstrom was taken down that time by Joseph, the goaltender, with his glove.
I think he fell over Cujo. They're both trying to get penalties against each other.
Holmstrom again being roughed upside and a shot. Score! It's Steve Yzerman! Tie hockey game on the power play goal!
Okay, Steve, people wonder why good power plays put a man in front of the net right here. That goal was scored because Holmstrom had been in front of the net for 20 seconds, taking a beating. You saw him get knocked down by Didick twice. You saw him and Cujo get involved twice. Right there, Cujo finally lost him. He was more focused on Holmstrom than he was on the puck. You just got to have those guys like Verbeek and like Holmstrom, and Dallas does the same thing in their power play. They put a man in front of the net. Philly does the same thing. That's how you score goals. And as I said, Stevie's going to catch Mark probably this year and then pass him.
Look out, Mark Messier. For the 11th time in his stellar career, Steve Yzerman has scored 30 goals or more.
And again, Holmstrom makes all this happen. Great play by Sergei Fedorov out to Yzerman. But they've been battling too long, too hard in front of that net, and they got rewarded.
Steve Yzerman is now in third all by himself among top goal scorer centermen in the NHL. Mike Lavallon's got 33, Jeremy Roenick 32, and now 30 for Steve Yzerman on the power play.
Something's going on in the ice here. It looks like Toronto just got a penalty.
Pat Quinn keep his guys on the bench too long, maybe, to sign a protest?
It looks like it's an unsportsmanlike. Ty Domi's over there. Stevie Thomas is over there. Yes, it is. It's 2 minutes.
It's got a playoff feel to it, a volatile atmosphere.
And I love Ty Domi, but you cannot take a penalty in this situation. And I got to think that something was said pretty bad because, you know, Kirk, he's a veteran referee. He doesn't want to call that in this situation. He wants the teams to decide who wins. So I got to think Ty must have said something pretty bad even for Ty to get a penalty in this situation.
Ty Domi was angry last night. You might have caught him swinging his stick on SportsCenter. He picked up 27 penalties, 27 minutes in penalties last night. 22nd time in his career. He's had 20 or more PIMs in a single game. Last night in a fight with Jamie Allison, got the extra 2 for instigating, got a game misconduct, swung his stick in frustration, and now he's in the box.
And Steve, this is an example of what Pat Quinn said before the game. He said, we're not playing playoff type hockey yet. We're giving up too many chances against defensively and doing something like this. You can't do something like this in the playoffs. You just got to keep battling. Maybe the referee made a bad call, maybe he didn't. That doesn't matter. You can't take the frustration. You got to keep your mouth shut and let your play talk about it.
Barry, there is a chance that was a bench minor on SportsCenter, and Domi's just serving it. That is possible. We're still waiting for the official word. And we'll get it for you as soon as we can. They're doing some playing some catch-up here. They're just now announcing the official tying goal. Power play for Detroit. That last goal was a power play goal for Steve Yzerman. In the skates, but the Leafs can't clear. Fedorov gets it through. Cross ice pass. Here's Shanahan. Stopped by Joseph. That's a rebound. And Fedorov fanned on it. And the Leafs able to push it to center.
Korolev stopped the goal there. He saved the goal in the slot because Fedorov got a wide open net.
Shanahan back in to it. Kozlov gloves it down. Couldn't get the shot. Shanahan will glove it down now. It's all Detroit here. Lariana, backdoor play for Yzerman. Couldn't connect. Here's Lidstrom. Loses the puck that time. That's back to center ice.
You're exactly right. It might not have been Domi that took that penalty, but
Pad save. Rebound right to the middle. Cross lets it go. Osby got a piece. Bounces by him and is able to settle it down.
Whoever it was on that bench, you cannot do something at this time of a game.
Barry, officially they do call it a bench minor. Domi serving. But that is a coaching ploy, right? When you're ticked off with the referee, maybe you'll keep your players on the bench a little too long. Won't send your fresh players out there.
Yep. Just to send a message if you're not happy with the play. But you never embarrass the referee. Terry knows that they're not happy with him. He doesn't want to make that call in this situation. He wants the two good teams to decide who wins. So it must have been something pretty strong that was said for Terry to make that call in that situation.
Tell you what, this is the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm okay with that. Domi coming out of the box. Upended Larry Murphy. Ty gets right back into the fray. And here's Domi now. It's some speed center. Trying to poke the body over. Domi is bumped off there.
People don't realize this. Ty can skate. Ty's a quick skater. He's got good feet.
Buck couldn't handle. Gets a second chance. Oh, Martin LaPointe just ran over Gary Ball. And the crowd roared. Back to the point. Chelios. Tip shot by Graber went wide. Wraparound attempt by Mulkey-Wide. Chelios shot stopped by Joseph. It's a shooting gallery.
Well, you're seeing the Detroit Red Wings. You're seeing why they've won 2 of the last 3 Stanley Cups this team, boy.
Here's Draper now, and it's cleared by Toronto. And out to center. Great action here on National Hockey Night.
That Quinn might have to go with the timeout coming up here to settle this thing down.
Caberlet is on it. This skaters. We come up on 7 minutes to play regulation time. Toronto at a 2-0 lead. Detroit has battled back to make it a 2-2 game. Eisenman roaring in shot. Stopped by Joseph. Puck is loose. And off the scramble. Leafs get to it.
Is he great or what?
And then afterwards, he got Gilchrist looked like in a headlock. Joseph did. Here's some speed for Detroit. Eisenman in. Shot. Score! Steve Eisenman. And the Joe has exploded.
Well, Steve, if you're going to win the Stanley Cup, you got to have leadership, and I don't think anyone's got a better leader than this guy. Single-handedly, I think, brought this team back. Goes to the front of the net. Made about 3 great plays just before this, and they didn't score. Splits the defense. Presence of mind. Look at this move. There's like 4 inches to put that puck in by Cujo's foot, and he does it. Best leader in the NHL right now, Steve Eisenman, as far as I'm concerned.
Holmgren breaks back. Osgood the save. You did say Eisenman might catch Messier this season, huh? Did you mean tonight?
I should have said tonight.
Oh, man.
I had a feeling tonight.
Off the glass. What an electric atmosphere.
What a player.
This building rocks, as it just did. 3-2 Detroit.
The thing is, like, I know him, what he's like personally. What a great guy in the dressing room. He cares about his teammates.
Humble, soft-spoken.
Changed his style in order to get the Red Wings to win.
Shot by Joseph. Eisenman is 31st from Lidstrom and Murphy. Eisenman scores goals in roughly a 4-minute span. First to tie, and then to put Detroit ahead. We'll see how the Leafs handle this. Rolls up far side. Chelios shot well wide. What action, what drama. It's been a great National Hockey Night tonight. Glad you could be with us on ESPN2. We realize you have other viewing options, but if you're a hockey fan, you made the right choice tonight.
Last time Detroit played, last game, they're down 2-0 to Nashville. I know it's a little different catching up against Toronto than Nashville, but you see what this team's made of.
5:16 left in the third. Steve Eisenman has taken this game over single-handedly. They're on their feet, roaring to applaud their captain. Melrose back in Hockey Town. And truly tonight, it's been Hockey Town. The atmosphere electric. On National Hockey Night here on ESPN2. 2 of the original 6. 2 of the teams Barry used to play for. They're putting on a show tonight. How many teams were there, Barry?
Only 3.
Winnipeg the third in the NHL.
Winnipeg, then to Toronto, and then I ended my illustrious career here in Detroit.
Some of those tremendous Red Wing teams have been very documented. Here's Eisenman.
How many minutes has Eisenman played in the third period? He's been on there the whole third period.
And across the line, Eisenman again. Hits the brakes. And the Leafs get to it. Out at center. Here's Gary Vaughn. Back the other way.
Let's find out a little bit about the Toronto team now. What they're making. They're going to battle the last 4 minutes here.
Verbeek was thumped by Escapich. Coming up on 4:20 to play here in the third. Wings were down 2-0. They now have a 3-2 lead. Korolev trying to fight through the check of Lidstrom, can't do it. Centering feed. Wide of the net.
Oh, what a play off the net to himself. Spin around out front of the net.
Sergei Beresov made the play. Carpet Silvers back in. Here's Cross. Playing the angle. First player to it is Lidstrom. A smart play, flips it up into the air. Leafs had it. And look to regroup. Dumped inside the zone. Murphy is on it. Icing will be called. And we'll step out. 3:30 left in the third. It's the Wings by 1.
Right here, we're talking about Sergei Beresov. Watch this. Off the net, backhanded, spinorama, gets a puck back, just goes off his stick. But what a player he's been this game. He's been Toronto's best player, and unfortunately, just not quite as good as Detroit's best player, Stevie Yachtin.
Beresov's got a goal and an assist. I was just thinking, how happy is Kerry Fraser that Detroit didn't score on that power play?
He didn't want to give them a penalty.
That's what I mean.
That's what I mean. It had to be something pretty wild for them for Kerry to give a penalty.
Here's a chance. Sundin breaking back, centering feed. Osgood steered it aside. Lidstrom shot into the corner. That was an even strength goal. That is right now the difference.
I want to see Matt Sundin do something here. Challenge that other captain. Detroit captain's done everything tonight under the sun for his team. I want to see the Toronto captain raise his glove and challenge that.
If you're thinking about a hat trick for Stevie Y, keep this in mind. This is shocking. No Red Wing player has had a hat trick this season.
That is.
They've got 4 20-goal scorers, Barry. Not one hat this season for a number of the Wings. 2.5 left in the third. Fedorov roaring out the center. Too far for Kozlov. Gets it back to Sergei, though. Fedorov is chopped at by Sundin. Turnaround shot, tried to stuff her. And it just went wide. I think Cujo got enough of it to keep it out. Joseph has been brilliant tonight. Far better than Osgood. Has been tested much more often with much better quality chances. And yet, Cujo's on the wrong side of the score right now.
First period, the whole play's been in the Toronto end.
Nick Antropov towards the front of the net. Knocked away from him. And Detroit will clear the center. Under 2 to play in the third. 3-2 Red Wings. 3 unanswered by Detroit. Here's Beresov. Lets it go. Easy stick save for Osgood. Shots on goal here in the third, Barry. You're right. 16-7 in favor of the Wings.
Those 6 of Detroit are from front of the net, Steve. They're not from far out.
Gilchrist in a race to the puck. Can't beat Carmelay to it. LaPointe gets over. The backhanded in deep. Killing precious clock. Minute 15 left here in the third. Duchesne on it. Right back the other way. Toronto can't get anything going. That's surprised they didn't take a timeout when you thought they should. But I guess now they still have that timeout to burn. Final minute to play here in the third. Here's Eiserman for Duchesne. You know his wing teammates are looking for him here. Check to a sprint. Gloved by Cujo. Keeps it moving. 50 seconds left in the third. Tucker now in deep. Gets it across. And here's Dimitri Kristich. He's got one of the 2 Leaf goals tonight. What a chop by Shanahan. Knocked the stick right out of the Korolev hand. Good strong play by Brendan Shanahan. And Shanahan's on it now. See, the Leafs can even get a shot on goal here. 25 seconds left. Centering feed. There was Sundin. He couldn't get the shot on goal. Sundin back behind the net. Tucker goes to the front of it. Oh, Sundin just put the finger on his behind. Loose puck shot, score! It's going to count, and it's Berezin again. What a wild scene! And it's a brawl breaks out afterwards as Chelios is involved. What a wild scramble, and I believe the goal will count. We have a 3-3 game with 8 seconds left.
As soon as the goal was scored, Chelios and Sundin. Sundin tried to get into the pile to congratulate Berezin. No way Chelios had a hold of him, put him in a headlock, took the helmet off. Great work by Toronto. They did the exact thing they had to do. The puck went behind the net. You mentioned Sundin. We talked about him responding to Yzerman's great period. He went, knocked the defenseman on his butt, took the puck to the net, and rebound went to Berezin, and he shot it. Great chip by Toronto. And watch Big 13 there. That's Duchesne right there. Gets knocked in his butt. Puck's there. Great play by Caberlet. Comes in, just tips it. Oh, and did the right guy ever get the puck? Berezin. Toronto wants Sundin in the crease, but he was pushed in the crease right here. Chelios pushes him in the crease right there. That's why the call wasn't made. Chelios is pushing him. He can't get out. That's a good goal. That goal will count.
They have yet to post it on the big board. It still says
it's in Detroit. But look at Chelios. Chelios is pounding Sundin into the crease. That's the rule. Net comes off. I think that's another thing Toronto's wondering is the net wasn't off. But again, the net was off because Chelios is pushing Sundin into the crease.
I think it was Shanahan pushing him into the crease, and Shanahan talking it over with Kerry Fraser there. Now, only now do they post it. 3-3 score.
There's 24 right there. He's behind the net. You're right, it's Shanahan, 24. Chelios is behind the net. And Berezin just standing there, as we talked about. Johnny on the spot. And he's going to shoot it. He's not going to pass that, Steve.
Hey, you know what, partner? This is the best hockey game I've seen all season.
Well, we talked about it. These two guys don't give us a great game. You know, we just the two top-scoring teams, two teams fighting for the teams ahead of them. Toronto's trying to catch New Jersey. Detroit's trying to catch St. Louis. There's so much, and these two teams might meet each other in the Stanley Cup Final, so you got so many things going on here.
I'll sign for that right now. You offer me Leafs wins in the Stanley Cup Final. Where do I sign? I'll take that right now.
And again, Sundin makes a play to counter Yzerman's great play. I like to see that. I like to see Sundin make a good physical play there.
7 seconds left in regulation. Murphy, the long shot. Joseph will leave it there. The point throws the big body check. Horn sounds as players come together again. This has been a feisty game, especially here in the third. We've got overtime in Hockey Town after this.
Goal. Well, again, the play is made. Sundin comes in, knocks Duchesne on his butt right there. That sets everything up. Now, that draws Shanahan in there to take care of Sundin. Sundin's in the crease, can't be moved, and that stops Osgood from coming across to make the save. Osgood wants to get across in the shot, but watch right here. He's stopped by that pile-up. Shanahan and Sundin. So, a lot of things happen in front of the net, boy. Watch Berezin here. We talked about offensive players. He knows, I'm just going to stay out here where no one covers me. Puck will follow me because I'm having a great game. Just takes that one step there. Doesn't hit a leg or nothing.
That's amazing.
If that's a plumber, that hits about 4 guys in the legs and doesn't go in.
Sergei Berezin, it's his 21st from Caberlet and Tucker. Even strength at 1951. We are in overtime. And if you got to pick a favorite to score the game-winning goal in overtime, there's only one guy, and you're looking at him. Stevie Thomas has 11 career regular season overtime goals and is the all-time National Hockey League leader.
Okay, but doesn't Matt Sundin have 3 this year?
Yeah, Randy,
so I might take him.
So Randy just told you that.
You take Thomas, I'll take Sundin. For Detroit, I'm taking Yzerman.
Oh, a little overtime pool here.
Yep.
Fill out your brackets, why don't you? Toronto this season 6-3 and 7 in the overtime. Detroit 3-1 and 8 in overtime games. Fedorov, Duchesne, and Shanahan all have overtime game winners for Detroit. Barry already spilled the beans on Sundin having 3 of them. Korolev has 1, and Thomas has 2. And there you go. So we have set. This is a fitting finish.
Oh, this is perfect.
Overtime. Toronto and Detroit. 2 of the original 6. I don't want to get too romantic or gush about the colors, but something special when these 2 uniforms clash and get together. 2 classics. Thomas is out there on the ice, so too is Sundin. And we play 4-on-4 in overtime. Here's Fedorov. Lots of open ice to wheel and deal. The players are on the ice who can do it. Oh, what a glove save by Joseph. And again, there is no rebound as Fedorov risked it a beauty.
I was just looking at the Detroit 4 guys on the ice. I couldn't believe it. Shanahan, Yzerman, Fedorov's playing defense with Nicholas Lidstrom. Holy man!
You're already short of 1 point, and here's the case of going for the victory.
Well, Toronto needs this more than Detroit, because New Jersey's not playing well right now. They get beat last night by Dallas 3-2, so, boy, they win tonight in Toronto. You got to think New Jersey's starting to clock board look every once in a while, too, with this team coming up behind them. So, big win for Toronto. They can pull 2 points out of here.
Toronto 5 points back of New Jersey coming into tonight in the Eastern Conference lead. Detroit 4 points back of St. Louis. Again, you'll see the Blues and Kings tomorrow night exclusively over on ESPN. Good face-off win by Detroit. Here's Lidstrom. Cross for Yzerman. We're in overtime. 4-on-4. Taken out of the zone and offside at the Toronto blue line. This Saturday afternoon is the return of the NHL to ABC. At 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, most of you will see another installment of the nastiest rivalry in hockey. Steve Yzerman, Chris Chelios, and the Wings battle Peter Forsberg, Raymond Bourque, and the Avs. Others will see the Flyers take on the Rangers or the Penguins go up against the Bruins. It all comes your way Saturday on ABC, the home of the Stanley Cup Finals. We all say that with great pride.
So the B team comes out. Larionov, Kozlov, Chelios, and Duchesne.
Pretty good B team, right?
Pretty good B team.
I imagine their C team would be somebody else's A team. And let's see.
High sticking. Carey called the penalty. He had the arm up.
Chelios involved there. As one of the Leaf players was down on the ice, and now gets up.
Carey called it right away, right under the...
Yeah,
but now the only question is this 4 or 2?
Igor Korolev put the front of that Chelios stick.
Before checks Chelios. Chelios sort of mishandled the puck right here. You got to be in control of your own stick right there. Came up and hit him in the cheek. And he got 4 minutes, so Toronto's going to have the power play this whole overtime. 4-on-3.
Should point out, remember, Detroit had a 4-minute power play earlier in this game. Only managed 2 shots on goal.
Although they moved it around very well.
And couldn't score, beating Curtis Joseph.
This is definitely Chelly. He just brings his stick up, catches him in the cheek. No doubt about it. Carey made it call right away, never hesitated. So he got a good look at it. He was on that side of the ice, right in front of the benches. So there's only 1 referee tonight. There's not the 2 referees that are happening in a lot of the games right now. So Carey got a good look at it, and Chelly's in there. Another thing about 4-on-3, Steve, teams don't practice 4-on-3s that much. They practice 5-on-3s a lot. 4-on-3 very rarely happens. So a lot of times 4-on-3s don't look quite as good as a 5-on-3.
See, with Detroit, you always talk about players learn something about what their coach thinks about them. How about
who's on the ice?
One of the 3 guys,
Steve Yzerman.
Yzerman, Murphy, Lidstrom, the 3 players for Detroit. Good face-off win, right to Larry Murphy, and he's able to clear.
Can't lose the draw in that situation. That's a killer. Let's see how long it takes Toronto to get back into Detroit and set up. It usually takes about 20-25 seconds. So you got to win a draw in a 4-on-3 situation that end.
Here's Sundin. Matt Sundin on with Steve Thomas, Yuskevich, and Kaberlev. Here's Yuskevich. Cross for Kaberlev. Lets it go. Stopped by Osgood and key to it. No rebound.
That's not a shot by Kaberlev. That's a pass, a slap pass, trying to get the tip in at the side of the net to Thomas. Great execution. Thomas got the tip. Osgood read the play, came across, made the save. So great execution by Toronto. Great goaltending by Chris Osgood.
There's 3:42 left in overtime. There's 3:34 left in the power play. 4-on-3 in overtime.
Okay,
here in Detroit.
Sundin's got to win this draw. He can't lose the draw here. They got to get it and set it up. If Stevie wins it, he won the last one. They killed off 15 seconds. Let's see if he can do it again.
Face-off numbers, Detroit has been dominant tonight. Yzerman, Sundin, an all-star face-off to the right of Chris Osgood.
Sundin just can't lose it clean. That's all he has to have in mind. Don't lose it clean, which he did.
Lost it clean. And Osgood leaves for Murphy, and same deal. Out of the zone.
That is so huge. That is so huge. 2 draws in your corner, 4-on-3 situation.
This ends in a tie. Remember those 2 face-offs. Here's Kaberlev. Severing feet. It won't end in a tie. Matt Sundin has won it for Toronto in overtime on the power play goal. It's all over. Mats Sundin, his 4th overtime goal of the season, and Barry took him in the pool.
Great play by Caberlet. We talked about Sundin matching Yzerman. He lost those draws, but watch here. He comes into the middle, gets a stick on Sundrum, a little bit of interference there, goes up into Nicholas Lidstrom's face, just throws him off so he can't pick him up. Great play by Caberlet. Great goal. That's on his backhand. He had to make that play in a hurry. Watch Thomas here. Caberlet goes forehand, fakes a shot, freezes the goaltender, goes to his backhand. Great execution by Sundin and Caberlet.
Final score from Detroit. Toronto Maple Leafs 4. Detroit Red Wings 3 in overtime. Tomorrow night, tune to ESPN's National Hockey Night at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. The Blues trying to hold their lead in the West as they take on the Kings. Coming up next, it's Van's Triple Crown Best of Surfing. Tonight's game has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide